In terms of how we use our resources, we have cut crime by an above average amount. We are performing really well, but we're now at a point where the only further cuts that we can make are to the front line. And as HMIC highlight, the thin blue line is getting worryingly thin.
A man is due in court today charged with the murder of 66-year-old Graham Buck in Little Gaddesden on Saturday. 55-year-old Iain McLaughlin's also been charged with robbery and possession of cannabis. A man and a woman will also appear at court in Hatfield charged with assisting an offender. A man from Hertfordshire has been jailed for stealing £133,000 that was supposed to go to charity. Christopher McKnight took the money from his best friend after he passed away. Lee Agnew has the details.
The court heard the 53-year-old from Bovingdon was executor of the will, which said the money should be given to the charity Action for Children. But McKnight transferred the money to his own bank account, which he then used to pay for a lavish lifestyle. Although attempts by the charity were made to recover the money, he avoided handing it over. McKnight from Howard Agnew Close pleaded guilty to theft and was sentenced to 27 months in prison.
The Care Quality Commission's hoping to improve its record on checking care homes in England by appointing its first Chief Inspector of Adult Social Care. The CQC's faced controversy because of the way it's inspected hospitals. The London Olympic and Paralympic Games have provided a boost of nearly £10 billion to the UK economy. That's according to a report published by the government. The money's come from additional sales related to the Games, new contracts secured by businesses and foreign investment. The research also suggests that more people are getting involved in sport and offering to volunteer in their community. Speaking of sport, it was Australia's day at Lords as England's top order struggled for runs on the opening day of the second Ashes Test yesterday. After winning the toss and electing to bat, the home side closed on 289 for 7. The weather, dry, hot and sunny, top temperature 27 degrees Celsius, that's 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
I do apologise, I was miles away. I was having a chat there with a colleague. How rude. I know, listen, but it's like doing a little private radio show for one person, and it's not what I'm paid for at all. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's a very, very nice morning out there, and it's kind of, there's a last day of term feel about the whole office today. It's not the last day of term, I believe. Unless I'm called in for a meeting straight after this show, I'll be back on Monday. So, let's crack on as per usual. It's the story that's led the news all week. Bedford Hospital and its decision to close paediatric services. Well, parents have been voicing their concerns about it. A meeting was held yesterday to look at the way forward. We'll get reaction to what's happening and find out what happened then. Bedfordshire Police has been earmarked as one of two forces in the UK which is likely to have to make cuts to frontline policing. Looks for more ways to make savings. That's according to a report by Her Majesty's Inspector of Constabulary. I'll speak to Bedfordshire's Police and Crime Commissioner later on to find out what's happening then and what's happening now. And what huge pieces of pop culture have you missed out on? I've never heard Stairway to Heaven. I'm never going to hear it. I've heard bits of it. I've heard the guitar bit, 'cause I've been in guitar shops in the 1980s, and I've heard the bit about her buying a Stairway to Heaven. That's it. That's all I know. Justin Dealey has never watched Grease. What have you missed out on? What haven't you seen or read or heard or done that everybody else has? Lots of ways to get in touch. Facebook.com/BBC 3CR. You can send me a text, 81333, start your text 3CR, or you can give me a call, 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Parents say they're worried for the future of children's services at Bedford Hospital. An independent inquiry was announced following a meeting yesterday, though that won't be delivered until autumn at the earliest. Our political reporter Paul Scoynes was at the meeting. It was a busy meeting, wasn't it? What exactly was it about?
Yes, in front of a packed public gallery, Iain. The Mayor of Bedford, Dave Hodgson, called this emergency meeting, and it was a council committee which looks at the health of Bedford. The hospital board was there, so the chair, Fiona Wilson, the acting chief executive who you spoke to when we took the programme to Bedford Hospital on Monday, Stephen Conroy, and the medical director, Ed Neal. They all were sort of fielding questions from this board of counsellors, medical professionals as well. And these questions were primarily about the problems that have been experienced at the paediatric unit at the hospital, which, just to give anyone who's not heard it a quick summary, junior doctors were withdrawn from the paediatric unit about a fortnight ago. The hospital announced that some services, including A&E and all other overnight services, will close, that they hope that that's a temporary situation. And that lack of junior doctors was withdrawn because of their sort of education board considered the low level of supervisions from consultants to have put not just the patients but also the junior doctors at risk as well. And that effectively meant that the wards couldn't function.
Well, interesting that some of the bigwigs from the hospital turned up. What did they have to say?
Well, the chair, Fiona Wilson, said that we acknowledged that there have been issues around clinical supervision. She said that there have been, since the sort of news broke a couple of weeks ago, that a number of so-called risk summits, so those are sort of discussions with key staff about how to manage this situation. She said that she was personally committed to fixing this and announced that an independent investigation will be held into what went wrong. That will be independent, won't be carried out by a council or by any health body in this region. It will be an independent body like the King's Fund, a charity like that. She said that they are committed to reinstating paediatric services as soon as possible, which was interesting. Although she did have a caveat saying that was dependent on the decision of the commissioners, and that of course means that they will have to look at potentially reinstating A&E. Although realistically, I think that they're looking towards a merged situation. Anyway, Stephen Conroy, the acting chief executive at Bedford Hospital, told me that despite the distance, it would be safer to take children to another paediatric unit if they were very ill.
The most important thing when you treat a child is that you've got competent paediatricians on site. So it's not about how quickly they can get to the hospital, it's about the expertise of the doctors and the team. And given our reduction in doctors, we just can't guarantee to provide a full service 24/7 at present.
You're going to get an independent inquiry conducted. What do you hope to actually find out through that inquiry?
Okay, well, we need to understand why this happened. Having trainees removed is not unique, but it doesn't happen very often. We need to understand what were the problems that the trainees raised. They were concerned about clinical supervision, so that's working with our individual consultants. The board want to know, is this about one individual consultant? Is it about one department? So the review has to find out what happened, what was the cause of it, what we can do to fix it, and then we can apply that learning across the organisation to avoid this happening again.
Well, I know because we're hosting this show and getting lots of people calling in, and people on Facebook, for example, Helen Lindsay Clark, lots of parents are concerned. What was the reaction of the parents that were there yesterday?
Well, I mean, very much concerned, especially about the communication they've had from the hospital. I mean, we've had the same to an extent at Three Counties Radio.
There have been lots of press releases that haven't really said very much.
Yes, there have been press releases telling us that there'll be another press release in the day or two. And the hospitals say they have recognised that they should have had better communication. They're putting a plan in place to make sure that all parents and patients of the ward are contacted as soon as possible. Now, at that point when they said that, the MP for Bedford, Richard Fuller, started tapping his watch quite dramatically, as if to say, "Come on, you've got to do."
Well, this is all happening very, very soon.
Yes,
so that they do need to pull their finger out to get in touch with all the parents.
If you look at it, it's happening on Monday in some instances.
Wow.
Mayor of Bedford said that the parents need to know by Monday. I spoke to Lynn Hoppenbroers from Bedford Borough Parent Carer Forum, and she said that lack of information has been a problem.
Parents don't know what to do because the alternatives haven't really been explained, publicised. There was talk in there today about the fact that they're contacting parents and they're going to make individual plans for each parent. That's great, but it's not happening as far as I'm aware. Certainly not for the parents that I've been speaking to. There's answers, but they need to talk to us parents in order to find out those answers. And I think as parents, we know our children the best, and they need to be talking to us in order to work out what is the best plan B.
Well, that was Lynn Hoppenbrose from Bedford Borough Parent Care Forum. What else? What other concerns are there?
Well, there was certainly a lot of worries about the length of time it's going to take to get to Milton Keynes Hospital and the other hospitals in the area, like Hinchingbrook, that's near Huntingdon. Public transport's a problem in those sorts of situations because it's not very easy to take small children on buses a long distance.
No, not when they're ill, particularly.
Not when they're ill. And there was an announcement about some help with travel costs. However, this parent, Anna Menendez, said Milton Keynes is just too far away to go in an emergency.
I'm really worried about it because my child just had convulsions, fits because of temperature, so I had to call the ambulance, or I need things locally. Children get sick. If I'm in Milton Keynes, it's a long way and you are worried. I'm the only one driving in my family, so I have to take them. I will be worried sick in the motorway or A6 or A421. Here it takes me 10 minutes, Bedford Hospital, and I always had a good experience over there.
What's next?
Well, there'll be a report in October, and that will be made public, and the hospital will attend further meetings at that point. Children's A&E will officially end at the end of the month, although no children should be brought into A&E as walk-in patients after the 1st of August. And from Monday, no children will be taken to Bedford Hospital by ambulance. So if they've been called a 999, all emergencies will be taken to other hospitals, most probably Milton Keynes, which has an even larger children's unit. Well, so it's fairly serious.
It's a big thing, and I say people like Helen has been in touch on the Facebook page with various concerns. Lots of. I want to hear from parents today. If you are concerned about this, because this is actually happening very, very soon now. If you're concerned about the changes to Bedford Hospital, 08459 455 555. How will it affect you? Paul, thank you for that. Going off on a complete tangent. I hope this doesn't sound too inappropriate after something so serious. This morning we're discussing huge gaps in pop culture. I've never heard Stairway to Heaven. Justin Dealey has never seen Grease. We're having a screening of Grease after this show.
Oh.
Upstairs if you want to come along.
I've seen it.
So I went out with a girl in the late 80s, so I've seen it loads of times. And it's rubbish. Have you got any... You seem like a very well-rounded, very well-cultured gentleman. I can't imagine there are any gaps in your pop culture.
My parents brought me up well.
Yes.
Pop culture, I'm not sure. I've never read a classic book.
Huh?
I haven't read On the Road.
What?
Yeah.
So like Hardy and Austin and stuff?
I haven't read any of that. I've not read any Charles Dickens. I've not read... See, at my school, they did loads of modern books for GCSEs and A-levels.
You're allowed to... The thing is, Paul, I've discovered this recently, you're allowed to go out to bookshops, libraries and get them yourself.
I need guidance.
Oh, wait, isn't he posh? 08459 455 555. Your gaps in pop culture, please. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now if there's a smile on my face, it's only there trying to fool the public. But when it comes down to fooling you, now honey, that's quite a different subject. Don't let my glad expression give you the wrong impression. Really, I'm sad.
that song, isn't it? I like that, a bit of Smokey. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. This morning, I'm looking for huge gaps in your pop cultural references. What things haven't you done, you heard, you haven't seen, you haven't been to, you haven't taken, that all of your friends have? 08459 455 555. Right, here's the Travel with Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, thanks very much, Ian. All looking nice and quiet on the roads of the three counties. Very little going on so far this morning. Everything running well on the A1 to the Black Cat roundabout, clear along the A1M, and it's looking good as you make your way down toward London. The M25 is running well through the roadworks. Thankfully, after the major problems of yesterday, everything is, of course, fully open. Got roadworks that could catch you out a little bit in St Albans. They're still doing some work on London Road. The A1081 is at the junction with Nightingale Lane, but they're hoping to have those works finished off later today. Taking a look at the trains, and there are no delays at the minute. If you're heading into London on the Tube, though, Archway Station on the Northern Line has been shut because of a power failure. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. Right, 6:17, it's Friday the 19th of July. I'm Iain Lee and these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. An independent inquiry will be held into the closure of paediatric services at Bedford Hospital. Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner has expressed concerns about the sustainability of frontline policing in the face of more cuts. In sport, England's women went out of football's European Championship last night after losing 3-0 to Group C winners France. Coming up, the current level of frontline policing in Bedfordshire could be under threat. Hear more next. If you want to take part in the show, 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio. If you've got a problem with a company, a council or an organisation, there's one man you should come and speak to.
You've got a problem with a mattress, I gather. Tell me all about it without naming any company name.
Jonathan Vernon Smith.
Well, every time she tried to book, the trip was cancelled because of adverse weather.
The JVS show fights for your rights and tackles your consumer problems.
Said send the receipt off and you'll get the cheque in the post.
If you need our help,
I went to speak to the man that runs this golf club.
Email jvsshow@bbc.co.uk.
I'm just very pleased that you've got the money.
And we could do the same for you.
Thanks ever so much, Jonathan.
The JVS show on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Jonathan's show was brilliant yesterday. I'm always a fan of the consumer hours. My favourite... I would say it's my favourite hour on radio at the moment. And that's not the kind of... I'm not towing the company line because I don't do that. But between 11 and 12 weekdays. Yesterday was amazing. He had he fell out with a consumer. He fell out with one of the consumers. I've never heard anything like it. It was wonderful. This guy was phoning up on behalf of his son because his son and his neighbour were sharing a water connection. So they weren't getting separate water into their house and he'd been paying for some... And Jonathan came up with a perfectly reasonable solution to the problem. The guy went, no, I'm not going to do that. Why should I do that? Oh, Jonathan was not happy in the slightest. It was wonderful. Wonderful. Coming up, we'll be talking about possible cuts to frontline policing in Bedfordshire. 08459 455 555. Well, this song seems to be sucking the energy out of the show. Don't worry, I'll bring it back.
I wanna take you somewhere, so you know I care, but it's so cold and I don't know where. I brought you daffodils on a pretty string, but they won't flower like they did last spring. And I wanna kiss you, make you feel alright. I'm just so tired to share my nights. I wanna cry and I wanna love, but all my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up. use my voice, I'll be so damn rude. Words they always win, but I know I'll lose. And I'd sing a song that'd be just stars, but I sang them all to another heart. And I wanna cry, I wanna learn to love, but all my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up on another love, another love. All my tears have been used up.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Going to give us a call this morning. 08459 455 555 is the phone number. Facebook.com/BBC 3CR. We're talking later on about the price of petrol. Could go up by as much as 5 pence a litre. Would that affect your driving habits? Would you change the way you drive if it did? Facebook.com/BBC 3CR. But before that, the current level of policing, of frontline policing in Bedfordshire, could be under threat. Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary, you try saying that at 6:20 in the morning, a group independent of the government and the police, says it's concerned about the force's ability to maintain its service to the public when faced with further budget reductions. They have until March 2015 to make savings of £19.4 million. Well, Zoe Billingham from HMIC told Drive yesterday that with lower than average funding, Bedford may soon struggle to know where further savings can come from, with little option but to cut frontline police officer numbers further.
If you've achieved efficiencies in every other part of your organisation, there could come a time when the only place you can turn is to cut into what's already a very thin blue line in terms of frontline workforce in Bedfordshire. So that's our concern. It's not an immediate clear and present danger now. It's an issue that we flag to the force and the Police and Crime Commissioner so that collectively we, the service and Bedfordshire, can work out ways of dealing with this.
We're joined now by the Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire, Ollie Martins. Morning, Ollie.
Morning, Ian.
Do you agree with the HMIC? Will you have to look at cutting frontline officers?
Well, first of all, the good news, which is that HMIC says that pretty much we've got one of the most efficient and effective police forces in the country. So that's the good news. But, we could not have written a better HMIC report ourselves in terms of setting out where we're at and the challenges that Bedfordshire Police faces. And I have been saying that because of our size and because of the particular challenges that we face in Bedfordshire in terms of policing challenges, we are heading for a place where, because we've done all the collaboration, we can do, because we're as efficient and low cost as we can get, we're running out of places where we can find the savings that we're being told by the government that we've got to find, other than looking at frontline policing. The other thing that, just to put this in context, we've recently done a staff survey, and we got a lot of feedback from our people, particularly frontline police officers, but actually throughout the organisation, about people feeling that they're pretty fatigued and pretty frustrated with all the changes that they're going through. You've got officers who they're having their rest days cancelled, they're having their shifts mucked about with, they're struggling to take the annual leave that they're entitled to, and they're even not taking the breaks they're entitled to, not because their managers are saying you can't take your break, but because they've got shouts coming in from the public, they've got calls coming in, and they feel that they've got to go and respond to them rather than take their break. We've got very dedicated people, but But I think that survey and what HMIC have said are describing an organisation that is running above capacity, and that's before we've taken the £7 million out of the budget that we've got to take out in the next couple of years.
And you're right, cuts have been made, and you have been, you're often in here telling us how you're trimming and you're trying to save money and stuff like that, because you have to, because money is, you're getting less and less money. The argument always from the public is, what do you want from your police officers? I want to see more of them on the street. I want to see more bobbies on the beat. The public will be concerned by this, won't they?
I think so. And HMIC did some work around this. They've done a nationwide survey asking people how safe they feel in their communities. And they identified that in Bedfordshire there is a smaller proportion of people who feel safe than is the national average. And they identified that what makes people feel safe is seeing the police. So that says to us that people in Bedfordshire are not seeing their police as much. And I know anecdotally from, all the work that I do going around the county talking to people, that they don't feel that they see the police enough, and that's what they want to see.
But you're going to have to do the opposite of that.
Potentially. I mean, we do have some plans, for example, to quite dramatically increase the use that we make of special constables, and these are volunteer police officers. So in a few years' time, our ambition is that actually a third of the people that we've got with warranted powers will be special constables.
Does having bobbies on the beat actually reduce crime? It's always the thing, isn't it? We want to see more coppers, but does it actually have an effect apart from making people feel a bit safer?
That is a very interesting question, because if you look at what Bedfordshire Police has done and how it's achieved this well above average reduction in recorded crime, it's actually done it by removing all of its officers, so that at the moment neighbourhood policing is carried out only by PCSOs in Bedfordshire. We don't have any warranted officers. All the warranted officers are either on response or doing policing that's going out and catching offenders, rather than pounding the streets or doing that visible policing. So that is how we've got this reduction in crime. But if we're going to continue to have the public's confidence, then we're going to have to do that visible policing. It's that visible policing that gives the public the confidence in the force.
You can't win, can you, Ollie? Because this money is huge. You have to make huge savings. So you either overspend, or you take, in inverted commas, proper coppers, and no disrespect to PCO, but you have to take police officers off the street. So you're going to look like the bad guy, whatever you do, aren't you?
Well, there's no doubt, and HMIC has identified it. This is a very tough challenge, and there is a danger that the policing is going to suffer in the county. As I say, I've got a plan. It's about doing even more collaboration with neighbouring forces. It's about extending collaboration more broadly across the public sector in due course. It's about making the most of our special constables and other volunteers, and also building up a very strong network of neighbourhood watch across the county, and really making sure that we're doing policing in partnership with the public and not just to the public. So that plan is all about protecting frontline policing. So I'm going to be working very hard. The Chief Constable is going to be working very hard with me, doing everything we can to avoid making these cuts to the front line. But, we can't hide, and certainly now that HMIC have identified it, we can't hide how tough this challenge is. But it's also important to understand that a lot of it relates to the way in which policing is funded. So in Bedfordshire, we don't get the money that the government's own funding formula says we should get. There's this thing called the damping mechanism, which it's quite early in the morning to explain how it works, but it basically means that we get docked between £2 and £3 million a year, less than the funding formula says we should be getting. Now that, cumulatively over the last few years, adds up to £24 million that we should have had for policing, that we haven't got. The second thing we suffer from is that our police precept, which is what people pay through the council tax, is below average. Now, This year, I couldn't do anything about that, even if I'd wanted to, without holding a referendum. If I wanted to go above 2%, we have to have a referendum. If we have a referendum, we have to pay for the referendum. And then potentially we also have to pay to send people out new bills. So it's effectively a cap. So you can't even do anything about that element of how policing is funded, even if I wanted to. So these are issues that the government needs to look at, and that's on top of the cuts that they're making.
I don't envy the decisions you have to make at all. Ollie, thank you very much for coming in. 6:31, let's get the travel now.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
At the moment, things still looking reasonably good. Certainly on the roads, we've had no accidents reported. If you're driving through Luton, though, electricity work continues on the A6. They're hoping to finish it later today. It's near the junction with Stockingstone Road. Star Street in Ware, electricity work as well. This is at Bowling Road. On the trains, no delays that I can see on the departure boards. On the tubes, though, the Piccadilly line runs with severe delays between Acton Town and Uxbridge because of a signal failure at Alperton. And if you're using the Northern Line to get into London this morning, Archway Station is closed because of a power failure. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. 6:32. Here's the news and sport with Catherine Boyle.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. The headlines. An independent inquiry will be held into the closure of paediatric services at Bedford Hospital. Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner has expressed concerns about the sustainability of frontline policing in the face of more cuts. And a man's due in court today charged with the murder of 66-year-old Graham Buck in Little Gaddesden on Saturday.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It was Australia's day at Lords as England's top order struggled for runs on the opening day of the second Ashes Test. After winning the toss and electing to bat, the home side closed on 289 for 7. Pat Murphy was watching.
A fluctuating day ended with Australia on top, due mainly to the occasional leg spin of Steve Smith, who took 3 wickets in the final hour, including Iain Bell for 109 and Johnny Bairstow for 67. They'd added 144, rescuing England, who'd early been 28 for 3. Bell played superbly, becoming only the fourth England batsman to score centuries in 3 successive Ashes tests, while Bairstow, reprieved on 21 when bowled by a no ball, looked secure enough till he was caught and bowled off a full toss. Smith's success proved that the ball is turning already, and that'll be noticed in the England dressing room.
In football, England's women were knocked out of the European Championship after losing 3-0 to France last night. The defeat saw them finish bottom of Group C, although the England coach Hope Powell insists she wants to remain in the job. Russia and Spain drew 1-1 in the night's other match. The result saw Russia go to a drawing of lots, but they lost out to Denmark, who joined Iceland in the last 8. Finally, golf, and Rory McIlroy says he's not sure what's going wrong after he finished on 8 over par in his first round at the Open Championship yesterday. The world number 2 is 13 shots behind the clubhouse leader, Zach Johnson, and is in real danger of missing the cut at Muirfield.
Physically and you know, technique-wise, that's fine. I mean, I'm swinging it okay. I know I can hit the shots, but it's just having the the right thought process to hit those shots, and that's something that I don't have at the minute, and I don't quite know why.
And that's your latest news and sport. I'll be back with more at 7 o'clock.
I'm so sorry. Hello.
Honestly, anyone would think you're not listening to my bulletins.
I'm not. Well, no. We're having a lot of fun here, Catherine. Shame you're not invited. But we're talking this morning, huge gaps in your popular cultural references, okay? Yeah. And the Manners PR has said on Twitter, I met someone who'd never seen The Sound of Music. I've never seen The Sound of Music.
Yes.
And I've only seen the end of Mary Poppins for the first time last week.
What?
It all ends up quite happily.
Yeah.
I didn't realise. Because with kids, you watch the beginning and you watch the scene in the bank. That's
the most boring bit.
It is the most boring bit until you realise it's Dick Van Dyke as the old man.
Yeah, I know, but still.
Okay, it is the most boring bit. But with kids, you watch, beginnings of films hundreds and hundreds of times. But I've never seen the end of it.
Wow, so what did you think?
What gaps? What gaps have you got?
I can't think of any. Not film-wise.
You're saying you're completely well-rounded and educated?
I just watched a lot of telly.
Oh. Are you a fan of Sex and the City?
I was at first, but I kind of grew up.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Your popular cultural gaps. It doesn't have to be just films or music. It could also be maybe you've never had an egg or you've never drunk a cup of tea. I had a friend who's never drunk a cup of coffee. Imagine that. Imagine never having been infused with the caffeine rush of a good coffee. 08459 455 555. After the show this morning, Justin Dealey and I will be sitting down to watch the classic musical Grease. A film that Dealey has never, ever seen. He's hosted a few discos, though, so no doubt he'll have played this one. Frankie Valli from the movie Grease. I want to see you up on the dance floor shaking your things, ladies. Watching this, 9:10 with Justin Dealey and a fried egg sandwich. Paul Scoins has just messaged me. He's never seen Dumbo. By the way, if you've got kids, Dumbo is not a kids' film. It is horrible. That bit when they're capturing the mum, I was watching it with my little boy. There's a horrible bit where they're capturing the mum. Oh, and I wasn't really watching it. I was reading or doing something on my phone. And my boy started crying, Daddy, what are they doing to it? It was awful. They're like whipping this elephant and putting it in a cage. It goes all psychedelic. Paul Scoins has also never seen a horror film. How? I don't know how that's possible. What haven't you done? 08459 455 555. Now, how safe do you feel when walking through your local park? One of our listeners emailed me, ian.lee@bbc.co.uk, to say there's a problem of antisocial behaviour in a park in Buckingham. David Trundley says there are often people drinking alcohol, using bad language, and generally being a nuisance to passers-by. Now, some of you might be going, so what? But you don't want that in a park. Especially if you've got kiddies, but you don't want that. We're going to speak to David in a moment, but first, our reporter, Barry Caffrey, visited the park yesterday.
It's just after lunchtime here on the Riverside Walk in Buckingham. On my right, there's a group of young people having a picnic, and all along the bank, many people are sitting down on benches, having some lunch and reading a book. But is antisocial behaviour a problem here? I spoke to some people to find out.
I know there have been incidents of it, and I know occasionally we do have problems in the park. My husband came home one evening, and late in the evening there were about 200 teenagers, mostly underage drinkers. One girl, he said, couldn't have been more than 15, was lying across the bridge that leads over to the Stratford Fields, which is the football club. Obviously, comatose on alcohol. So it is an issue. Personally, that's been my only incident with it. But it speaks volumes because, the car park area, they've had to put speed bumps in there because of late night whizzing around in cars and all that sort of thing. So there is an element of it, yeah.
I've never seen police officers down here. There are the community support officers, but you don't really see them down here. And if you do, they generally know the troublemakers and they sort of have a chat with them, and that's about it, and nothing gets done. They don't get moved on, they don't get told to stop. There was one occasion we were down here and they were sitting literally just here, and they had a load of cans with them, and they were literally just told to put their cans in the bin, and that was it. There was nothing, they weren't moved on or anything.
Well, I'm with Kath, who's just sat down on this bench overlooking the river here, and you're about to have your lunch break. Can I ask you, have you noticed antisocial behaviour along this riverbank?
Only once. I don't actually live in Buckingham. I do work here. I came down at lunchtime and there was a young crowd of girls and boys, and their language was really rude and disgusting and very loud, so you could hear it probably the whole way along.
And what did you do? Does that put you off coming down here?
I think it does, because you just come down just to chill out, eat your lunch, you'll break off work. So it isn't very pleasant, and there's quite a few elderly people that do come down, and I think it's very uncomfortable for them.
Well, joined now by David Trundley, who brought this to our attention. Morning, David. What have you seen happening?
Morning, Ian. The main thing I've seen is during any day, especially when it's warm like this, there's the same group of people. They're not necessarily young people. I say they're older than myself, who look to be seasoned drinkers, shall we say.
Okay, yes.
And they sit down there from maybe 10 in the morning till 8 at night, just drinking non-stop. You can see them smoking drugs, things like that. And it's a real uncomfortable air, because where they like to sit is where most families come to feed the ducks. And it does make you feel uncomfortable, to the point now where when I speak to my neighbours, we go to the other end of the town now at the park, so you don't have to walk past them.
Have you spoken to the police or the council about this?
I spoke when I was down there one day. They've I don't know if it was the council, but someone put up a sign. It had the Buckingham County Council.
Oh, a sign, okay.
That said, if you're caught drinking in this area, you'll be fined on the spot £500, which I thought was brilliant. Obviously, someone said something. So I was down there, saw them drinking, went up to a community support officer, told him. He walked over to them, made them put their empty cans in the bin, and when I questioned him, he said, "Oh, they're not hurting anyone." And that was it.
Oh, no. Well, there are different levels of hurt. They're not physically hurting anyone, but they are ruining... Listen, as a dad, I would hate to see this in the park. They're ruining the environment, aren't they?
Yeah. The worst thing we've seen is when I've been walking back... When you walk back towards Buckingham Town from the park, you go over a big bridge, and by the side of this bridge, there was a young girl down there involved in some sexual activities with two men. And I was with my little girl and my girlfriend, and I sort of went to her, I said, this is just ridiculous. And when I rang the non-emergency police number, and they said, we'll try and get someone out, let's see what's going on.
I'm shocked by that, Dave. I want to know more, but obviously for reasons I don't want to know more.
No, I know what you mean, yeah.
What would you like to see done, David?
I'd like to see it stopped, to be honest. The park, I've only lived here a year, and going down to that park, we loved her, my daughter. She's 2 now, and we used to go down there most days and feed the ducks and walk around the park. But
isn't that one of the joys of being a dad? Simple things. Feeding the ducks with a 2-year-old is wonderful.
Yep. But the trouble is, you can't sit down that bit now. We went down there the other day, and there's a family sitting having a picnic, and some of the people who drink down there have dogs, and they don't have their dogs on the leads, so they just run around, and if you sit down there with food, the dogs run up to you, pester you, and if you say something to them, they shout abuse at you. So you sort of don't sit there anymore.
David, listen, I appreciate you getting in touch and flagging this up to us. We're going to be speaking to a Buckingham Town councillor a little bit later on in the show to see if there's anything that can be done, so keep listening.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
David, thank you very much. If you've got a story that you'd like us to have a look at, David sent me an email two or 3 days ago, and it's on the radio. Iain, IAIN.LEE at bbc.co.uk. It can be a huge thing, it can be a small thing. If you send it in, we'll have a look, and maybe we'll send one of our reporters down. As I said, in the next hour, we'll speak to a Buckingham Town councillor who's been trying to tackle the problem. Right, let's get the travel news.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Still doing those long-term works in Dunstable along Pointers Road. It's shut for major reconstruction work between the A505 and Ports Avenue past the Woodside Industrial Estate. All traffic having to use the A505, Boscombe Road and Ports Avenue instead. Not too busy round there this morning, but it probably will slow down later. In Buckingham, works on the A413 continue. It's water main work at the total roundabout, so temporary traffic lights are up. Tring Road in Wendover has some temporary lights as well. This is gas main work near Hale Road. Into London, starting to slow up on the A1 through Boreham Wood, southbound from Stirling Corner toward Apex Corner. On the trains, no major delays. On the tubes, though, severe delays for the Piccadilly line. This is Acton Town to and from Uxbridge because of a signal failure at Alperton. On the Northern line, you have the closure of Archway Station because of a power failure. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. I think I just heard a millisecond of Stairway to Heaven trying to creep in. Don't try and trick me with that. Right, 6:47. It's Friday the 19th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. An independent inquiry will be held into the closure of paediatric services at Bedford Hospital. Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner has expressed concerns about the sustainability of frontline policing in the face of more cuts. In sport, England's cricketers will resume this morning on 289 for 7 on day 2 of the second Ashes Test at Lord. What a lot of numbers. Coming up, what huge pieces of pop culture have you missed out on? 08459 455 555. Lots of you commenting on Facebook as well. We'll have a look at some of those after the latest weather with Elizabeth Rizzini.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hi, good morning, Ian. Well, we've got temperatures a little bit cooler than they have been in recent days. You'll notice them as they step outside the door. Still very pleasant today, but it won't be quite as warm. I really doubt that we'll see 30 degrees, for instance. We might well get 28 or 29 degrees Celsius, though, and the best of those temperatures, I think, will be across parts of Buckinghamshire again. We've still got an easterly breeze, and that will be noticeable, I think, today, particularly across parts of Hertfordshire, where it will generally be a little bit more refreshing. I think temperatures still here, though, into the mid-20s. We're probably looking at 25, 26 degrees Celsius. Lots of sunshine around, a very pleasant day again. And blue skies, bit of fair weather cloud into the afternoon. And then overnight tonight, we're going to start to see some more cloud feed in from the east, and this is going to have an effect on the day tomorrow. Temperatures down to 14 or 15 degrees Celsius. The clouds sticking around for tomorrow morning, eventually clearing away. So I think we'll see some sunny spells through the morning, certainly for parts of Buckinghamshire, western areas of Bedfordshire, but it will take some time for that cloud to clear up across parts of Hertfordshire tomorrow morning. And then sunshine all the way through into the afternoon. We're looking at temperatures 24 or 25 degrees Celsius. Another gorgeous day, certainly by the end of it, lots of sunshine around, just feeling a little bit cooler, and we'll still have that easterly breeze. Sunday is looking very similar as well. On Saturday night, it will start to cloud over again. We could be keeping that cloud for part of Sunday morning. It will clear away late morning, first part of the afternoon. And then into next week, well, the heat wave continues. In fact, even though the temperatures will cool down a touch over the weekend, they'll climb up again into next week. We've got some very hot and humid air feeding in from the southeast, and we'll see the risk of some thunderstorms develop as well. Yes. That's the forecast.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Oh, no, now listen, I know what this is, because I've heard this bit. Stop this. That's the beginning of Stairway to Heaven. Now, don't do that, Kelly Betts. That's very, very naughty, because I've never heard Stairway to Heaven. I've heard bits of it. I've heard that bit. And I've heard, and she's buying a stairway to heaven. I've heard that. That's all I know. Never heard it, and I don't want to hear it, OK? We'll talk about that more in a little bit with Justin Dealey. Hang on.
Nick Coffer's Weekend Kitchen.
This Saturday will bring you 9 quick and simple recipes for you to try at home. a delicious lemon and raspberry tart.
You come to an end of a meal and you think, I couldn't eat another thing, but funnily enough, you can slide down a slice of this.
Italian summer chicken.
It's a whole potpourri of different flavours all hitting each other at the same time. It's brilliant.
And a Cheats caramel and honeycomb dessert.
My children would just die for this, that's the thing. I'd have to keep stopping them going back and getting some more.
To get all the recipes, listen from midday on Saturday for all the details.
Nick Coffer's Weekend Kitchen on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, Saturday night, 8 o'clock, Gareth Lloyd hosts BBC Introducing. It's a show which supports unsigned and upcoming musicians from Beds, Herts and Bucks. So if you're in a band or you're a singer or whatever, you can upload your tracks to bbc.co.uk Introducing. It might get played on that show, which is fine. You know, it's a niche bit of programming. Well done, thumbs up, we're doing something for the community. It might, more importantly, get played on my show. And the person who chooses the tracks that get played on my show is Kelly Betts. Morning, Kelly Betts.
Good morning.
Kelly, now, quite often, some of the songs on BBC Introducing, you know why they're an unsigned band, and you know that the chance of them getting signed are less than nil. This one we're going to hear today, any good?
It's very good.
Why did you choose it?
I liked it because it just sounded a bit different. I quite liked it.
Okay.
Loved his voice.
Alex Bailey.
Alex Bailey.
From
yeah.
Bishop Stortford.
Mhm.
He's called it. He's called it Wandering Song. Wandering. Or
What would you like? What's
it
a good name for a song? Just throwing it out there for any bands writing a song. What would you like to hear a song be called?
Touch Me Now?
Oh yeah, that would get you.
Is it Wondering or Wandering? Is he wondering or is he wandering?
Both.
Let's find out.
Somewhere to stay. I see raindrops upon the hill. I think tonight I'll get a chill. Whose side you on anyway? It's not like you to make me pay. I'm gonna try anyway. Spend that night and day. Leave that doll now. Leave my love. Don't even give her no hug. Keep on wandering through them woods, never doing as I should. Whose side you on anyway? Not like you to make me pay. I'm gonna try anyway. Need somewhere to spend that night and day. Oh, life, oh, life, oh, life, oh, life. I see you there and you know, boss me out of my home. Give me strength and power to go I've been wondering all my days. Looks like I found a place to stay.
There's Alex Bailey. I think it's the Wandering Song, not the Wondering Song. There's a difference. I like that. That's good. I would listen to that. That's a cracking song. That's Alex Bailey from Bishop Stortford, the Wandering Song. You can hear more music from the Three Counties on BBC Introducing every Saturday from 8.
Night and day.
Now, this week, I discovered that Justin Dealey has you've never seen the film Grease, have you, JD?
Morning, boss. Nope, never seen the film ever.
I went out with a girl in the 80s, so I've seen it far too many times.
Yeah, I thought so.
I mean...
It's the way you strut around the office. I knew there was something in this.
With a packet of fags rolled up in my T-shirt sleeve. It's a bit boring, I'll be honest, but we're going to watch it after the show today, aren't we?
Yeah, can't wait. You know what, this week I'm not feeling particularly good. Got a bit of a summer cold. I'm being forced into a room and being bullied. And yes, I'll be sat down to watch Grease. Daily Mail, if you are listening, you could have an exclusive here. That's all I'm saying.
And I've never heard Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
No, I don't. And I think is I don't want to hear it now.
Why?
I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to.
Why?
Not going to.
Why?
It's my thing now.
Why?
It's my thing.
Why?
But I want to find out what other bits of pop culture have people missed out on. You've been speaking to some people, haven't you?
Yes, I'm in Luton this morning finding out what films in particular people have missed out on, and this is what people have had to say. Well, Tony, you're from the US. You're here in Luton for 2 weeks. Tell me about the classic film that you still haven't got round to watching.
Clockwork Orange. I guess I've just heard nothing but differing opinions about it and never got around to it.
Do you like this area, by the way? Do you like it?
Yes, it's a very nice area.
A lot of the film was made about 15 minutes away from here, in Hertfordshire.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Sally, Grease, is it worth watching?
Not in my opinion, no. Yeah. A lot of people will disagree with that.
So I'm starting obviously quite late with Grease, considering it came out back in 1978. Can you think about certain films and classic films that you've only watched in recent times?
Yeah, The Sound of Music, that was in the last 5 years. Quite enjoyed that. I can see what the hype about that is.
Yeah. Any others?
Yeah, Gone with the Wind.
Mandy, it's a beautiful morning out here. Look at that sunshine. It's fantastic, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's wonderful. Now, you like your films, don't you?
Yeah.
But you've never seen The Godfather?
No.
Can I ask why?
Well, it's an old film, really.
Are you eventually going to sit down and watch it?
Now you've put it in my mind, I probably will, yeah.
Okay. And what about Grease? Were you a big fan of Grease?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, now look at your face.
I do. I still watch that now and again.
Alex, you're a bit of a film buff. You have seen Grease. Is it worth watching?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
That's hardly a fulfilling report, really, is it? Come on, it's not too bad. Come on, sell it to me.
It's amazing, yeah.
Now, in terms of things that you haven't seen, tell us about the popular culture that you feel you're missing out on still.
Well, I've never seen The Godfather. I've never got round to it, really. Dexter. I will, at some stage. I'll wait for them all to finish, and then I'll get the box set and do them all in one hit.
Take a week off work and watch them all in one go.
Absolutely.
How can someone not have seen The Godfather?
Oh, no, it's ridiculous. 2 people there, in literally, 15 minutes or so, 2 people who hadn't seen the classic film The Godfather.
Wowzers.
Still can't believe you haven't listened to Stairway to Heaven.
Not
8
heard
minutes of pure joy.
8 minutes long?
Yes,
oh, I've got
8
better
minutes.
things. Now, listen, Justin, we're out of time. I know you've got another Vox. We'll play it later on.
Can we just have 10 seconds of it now? Would you mind? Is that okay?
Well, we can, but we'll be late for the news.
Oh, we'll be okay. Just the first 10 seconds. This person is fantastic. Here's their views on the films they've missed out on.
Oh, you're such an idiot. You're such an idiot. I'm assuming that's part of Stairway to Heaven, is it?
Yeah, the intro, which is just pure joy.
You're an idiot. Go away. Thank you very much indeed, and you're fired, Kelly Betts. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Slow this morning on the A5 southbound through Markyate. It's looking busy round Lynch Hill and as you make your way down toward the M1. The M25 anti-clockwise, slow into the roadworks. Waltham Abbey to Enfield, busy as you go past Kings Langley at junction 20 and slow again from Maple Cross round to the M40. Also quite slow into London through Borehamwood on the A1 from Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. Piccadilly line tube, severe delays Acton Town to Uxbridge, signal failure at Alperton. Metropolitan line now runs with minor delays because of a signal failure at Neasden a bit earlier. And on the Northern Line, Archway Station still closed because of a power failure. Trains across the 3 counties, though, running well. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. Stop trying to sneak in bits of Stairway to Heaven on my show. What bits of pop culture have you missed? Trisha Gollop wants me to listen to the song and calls me a big baby. No, I'm not a big baby, Trisha. How rude.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. It's 7 o'clock. I'm Catherine Boyle. The headlines: independent inquiry at Bedford Hospital, thin blue line set to get thinner, and Little Gadsden suspect due in court.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
An independent inquiry will be held into the removal of trainee doctors, which led to the closure of paediatric services at Bedford Hospital. Children's A&E and overnight care will be provided at neighbouring hospitals until a final decision on the service's future is made in March. The hospital's acting chief executive is Stephen Conroy. He says it's essential that young doctors' concerns about poor supervision by senior staff are addressed.
Having trainees removed is not unique, but it doesn't happen very often. The board want to know, is this about one individual consultant? Is it about one department? So the review has to find out what happened, what was the cause of it, what we can do to fix it, and then we can apply that learning across the organisation to avoid this happening again.
Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner fears frontline jobs may have to go if the government doesn't relent in its demands for more savings. The Prime Minister's suggesting falling crime figures prove the police can be effective with fewer resources. But Ollie Martin says he's already running a trimmed-down service.
Because of our size and because of the particular challenges that we face in Bedfordshire in terms of policing challenges, we are heading for a place where, because we've potentially done all the collaboration we can do, because we're as efficient and low cost as we can get, we're running out of places where we can find the savings that we're being told by the government that we've got to find, other than looking at frontline policing.
A man's due in court today charged with the murder of 66-year-old Graham Buck in Little Gadsden last weekend. Iain McLaughlin has been charged with robbery and possession of cannabis. A man and a woman will also appear at court in Hatfield charged with assisting an offender. A report says last year's Olympics and Paralympics have generated a trade and investment boost to the UK economy of almost £10 billion. Both the government and the London Mayor, Boris Johnson, says the increase has come from firms securing contracts, additional sales and foreign investment. But Mike Cherry from the Federation of Small Businesses says he's not sure the boost has been felt outside London.
Out in the regions, we found that the effects of the Olympics and the Paralympics and the contracts that we were expecting really didn't materialise, I suspect, as much as many people were hoping for. A lot of work went into it at the very beginning when it was all announced, and although some businesses certainly got some really good contracts, for the vast majority it just didn't happen.
The Chancellor George Osborne's given details of plans to offer large tax breaks to companies involved in the extraction of shale gas. The government wants to encourage production by cutting the tax on the income generated from 62% to 30%. Environmental campaigners have described those plans as a disgrace. In sport, day 2 of golf's Open Championship is underway and Rory McIlroy has it all to do. The world number 2 said he felt unconscious and brain dead as he carded an 8 over par 79 at Muirfield. The weather, dry, hot and sunny with a top temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. That's 81 Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
I'm so... No,
again.
No.
I can't believe... Well, I can believe it.
No.
Stop it. Pay attention.
I'm so sorry. Justin Dealey has come in, okay, to have a picture taken for... I can't see, I've had a flash. To have a picture taken for Facebook of him holding a copy of Grease and me covering my ears to imply that I've never heard Stairway to Heaven. But when you have a picture taken with... when someone takes a snap, quick snap, done, right, move on.
Justin has to check them, doesn't he?
Oh,
like Mariah Carey.
He has to give them the Justin Dealey Thumbs Up Fun Award. We just took 8 snaps of him holding a DVD and me covering my ears. No, try it with the flash on. That one will do, girl.
And let me guess, he's doing the same face he always does.
He's doing the Dealey pout. It's ridiculous. We'll put the picture online soon. You'll see. Oh, I'm blind now. I can't see. Look. Forget the fact I'm late for the show. Dearie me. We're having far too much fun this morning. It's not professional. It'll stop. It will stop. I literally can't see now because of that flash. Oh dear. Only another 2 hours. We can stagger through this. We can stagger through it. Now, it's a story that's led the news all week. Bedford Hospital and its decision to close paediatric services. Well, parents have been voicing their concerns about it. A meeting was held yesterday to look at the way forward. We'll find out about that. But if you are a parent, how concerned are you? How will this affect yours and your child's life? Bedfordshire Police has been earmarked as one of 2 forces in the UK which is likely to have to make cuts to frontline policing. It looks for ways to make savings. That's according to a report by Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary. Well, we've spoken to the Police and Crime Commissioner. What are your thoughts on it? And what huge pieces of pop culture have you missed out on? I've never heard Stairway to Heaven all the way through, and Delia's never watched Grease. Lots of you commenting on Facebook. I'll find out what you're saying in a bit. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text 81333. Start your text 3CR. Or you can give us a call 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's growing concern amongst parents who use Bedford Hospital about the future of children's services there. An independent inquiry was announced following a meeting yesterday, although that won't be delivered until autumn at the earliest. Yesterday, our political reporter Paul Scoynes spoke to Acting Chief Executive of Bedford Hospital, Stephen Conroy, who said while it's not ideal, it's just not safe to take a sick child to Bedfordshire Hospital at this time.
The most important thing when you treat a child is that you've got competent paediatricians on site. So it's not about how quickly they can get to the hospital, it's about the expertise of the doctors and the team. And given our reduction in doctors, we just can't guarantee to provide a full service 24/7 at present.
You're going to get an independent inquiry conducted. What do you hope to actually find out through that inquiry?
Okay, well, we need to understand why this happened. Having trainees removed is not unique, but it doesn't happen very often. We need to understand what were the problems that the trainees raised. They were concerned about clinical supervision, so that's working with our individual consultants. The board want to know, is this about one individual consultant? Is it about one department? So the review has to find out what happened, what was the cause of it, what we can do to fix it, and then we can apply that learning across the organisation to avoid this happening again.
And how are you going to get this message across there? Because you've been very badly criticised by politicians and by patient groups for the lack of communication that they feel has been coming from the hospital. How are you going to address that?
We have been communicating the message since Monday. I totally recognise that the type of message we're putting out is making parents anxious and worried about where they should take their children. But we've only had a few days to get the message out. So it's a very urgent change. The GMC gave us only a couple of weeks' notice of removing trainees. They have extended that slightly, so we've got till the end of July. But it's a tight timetable to get the message out. But we believe that we can do this because we're working with the schools, we're working with the GPs. In the hospital, we're talking to our patients, we're writing to every patient who's a frequent user of the service. So it's not fully out there today, but within the next few days, I think that a lot more people will be clear about that message.
Stephen Conroy, Acting Chief Exec of Bedford Hospital, talking to our reporter Paul Scoynes. Well, I'm joined now by Dr Peter Parry-Oakden, who is a Bedford GP and part of the Bedfordshire Clinical Commissioning Group, which buys NHS-funded healthcare for everyone in the country. He joins me now. Good morning, Peter. You were at the meeting yesterday. How do you feel it went?
Well, it was certainly an interesting experience for me to be at a meeting like that. I've never been in anything like that previously. There were large numbers of the public there. It was packed with people, clearly very concerned about the future of paediatric services in Bedford. We heard some very passionate questions from members of the public. They weren't actually allowed to ask questions throughout the meeting, so they were only allowed questions at the very beginning, so we didn't get the full flavour of what their concerns were, but I think it was very clear from their responses in the public gallery that they were, very concerned and worried about the future.
But one of the problems that we've had and the complaints we've heard from other people is that Bedford Hospital have been very vague on their plans. Were they any clearer yesterday?
Well, I think the plans that came out were fairly clear in that they were saying we're not going to be doing very much paediatrics at all from August. Apart from they were going to have nurse-led ambulatory care for those patients with long-term conditions that need to be seen regularly. So I think there was clarity of it, but there was a real concern expressed by the fact that the A&E department would be closed to all children, and I think there was some recognition at the meeting yesterday that maybe that could be looked at to see whether we couldn't actually provide some of the care locally. And certainly we talked about actually general practitioners in Bedford might be able to take up some of the slack from some of the patients who currently go to A&E who actually have sort of conditions that could actually be managed in primary care. So we're looking at seeing how we could perhaps help with that, to reduce the number of children that would have to travel elsewhere. And I think, we also, there may be some scope at looking at some of the criteria that is used to see if we can improve on that, so to make fewer patients have to go.
What do you think of this idea for patients to use the GP when they can? Will that work to take pressure off local hospitals?
I believe it can. I mean, the number of children that attend A&E on a daily basis is not that many. I mean, it's 50 or 60, we are told. And, we have 25 practices in Bedford. So we wouldn't actually have to see very many children each day in order to reduce the demand on the A&E department. So we're starting to talk to colleagues about what we can do to achieve that. I'm sure that they will be willing to help in any way that they can.
Dr. Peter Parry Oakden, Bedford GP, thank you very much indeed. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Lots of you commenting on Facebook about your gaps in popular culture. What have you missed? What have you not seen? Oh, Alison says, I went to the cinema 14 times to see Grease when it came out. It's a girl's... Aidan says, hang on a second, I've never seen The Sound of Music or Blackadder. You've never seen Blackadder or The Matrix? The Matrix is a little bit overrated. Andrew says, I've never had a blood test. I've never seen Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter films, says Darren. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. They look rubbish. And also, the thing about Harry Potter, I've never read a Harry Potter book. I watched the first Harry Potter film, and then a few minutes into the first Harry Potter film, I realised it's for children. Harry Potter is for kids. And you see these adults on the train reading the adult versions of Harry Potter. No, there is no adult version of Harry Potter. They are children's books and children's films for children. Anybody over the age of 15 that reads Harry Potter or watches a Harry Potter film needs to sort their life out. There endeth the rant. Carolyn Pashby says, I've never seen Titanic, never will either. I watched Titanic last Christmas for the first time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was on. I thought, let's watch this rubbish. I thought it was a cracking film. Philip says, I've never seen The Office. Helen says, I've never watched Dirty Dancing. And Mark says, I've never seen any Star Wars or Harry Potter films. 08459 455 555. What are your huge gaps in popular culture? Let's have a quick look at the front pages. Was there a woman with her skirt blowing in the wind? Is this really... Oh, it's Kate Moss. Is this really the front page of the Times? Kate Moss wears big skirt that blows up in wind. Really? As she goes to the Ivy restaurant. I've been to the Ivy. It ain't nothing special. There was a bug in my salad. There was a bug in my salad. This was years ago when I was being courted by TV people. I wouldn't go myself. Blimey. It was really disappointing. BBC chiefs broke rules over golden handshakes. Scandal of how inflated payoffs were fixed, says The Times. Holiday blows fuel price surges. Oh, there's going to be a massive fuel increase. Did you know that? It's going to go up 4 or 5 pence a litre. We'll be talking about it a bit later on. Will that affect the way you drive? Drive slower. Independent. Outcry at fresh hacking cover-up. Exclusive. Britain's FBI refuses to name blue-chip firms who commissioned corrupt private investigators. And you thought you were feeling hot, says The Guardian. There's a guardsman in, what do they call it, a bearskin, and he's sweating. Oh, he should be allowed to take it off. He's got ice underneath there. It's just packed up with ice. May warned over police cuts, 5 forces at the limit of austerity. Bobby's on the beat under threat. We've been talking about that this morning. And the Bee Gees. All the Bee Gees are in G2. Now, there's a review of a new Bee Gees biography. I'm not a massive fan of the Bee Gees, but the review of the Bee Gees biography said the author seems less concerned with their music and more concerned with their personal rivalries and drug problems. I ordered it straight away on the basis of that. It's nice watching my team chomping down on a sandwich and a biscuit, respectively. That's good. I hope they're enjoying themselves. The Daily Express. 95 degrees. It's going to get hotter. No end in sight for heatwave. And inside, 7 simple steps to beating Alzheimer's. Page 2. I've got to find out what these are. I wonder if they're the same 7 steps they printed a few months ago. 7 steps to health. Slash intake of saturated fats. Main diet staple should be vegetables, so eat healthy. Eat nuts and seeds, so eat healthy. Get a daily dose of vitamin B12 from meat, so eat healthy. Number 5. When selecting multivitamins, choose those without iron or copper. 6. Avoid using cookware, baking powder, so eat healthy. 7. Exercise. Right, now, listen, not being funny, someone got paid to write that down. Daily Mail. Rail bosses on £11 million gravy train. That's clever. You see what they did? And The Sun. Knock back in anger. Oasis star and the love child. Liam dumped writer when she got pregnant. He goes on 10 a.m. Ibiza cocktail bender. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
At the moment, things are looking particularly slow on the A5, southbound from Markyate toward the M1. The M25 anti-clockwise, heavy traffic from Waltham Abbey toward Enfield, junction 26 to 25. Then it's slow again as you go past Kings Langley at junction 20, and from Maple Cross round to the M40. Looking at the M40 on the cameras, it's all moving fine there. Sensors aren't really picking up any other major delays across the roads at the moment. If you're travelling by train, a little bit further up Virgin Trains lines into the Midlands, they've got delays possible. Birmingham New Street to Wolverhampton because of signalling problems. Northern Line Tube, well, Archway Station has reopened now following the power failure earlier today. Piccadilly Line still runs with severe delays Acton Town to Uxbridge because of a signal failure, and there was a signal failure at Neasden, meaning minor delays for the Metropolitan Line. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. 7:17, it's Friday the 19th of July. I'm Iain Lee and these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. An independent inquiry will be held into the removal of trainee doctors which led to the closure of children's services at Bedford Hospital. Bedfordshire's police commissioner fears frontline jobs may have to go if the government doesn't relent in its demands for more savings. In sport, the Manchester United David Moyes has this morning again insisted Wayne Rooney is not for sale after Chelsea had a bid for the striker rejected earlier this week. I don't know a lot about football, I think they might be playing a little game here. Coming up, do you remember we spoke to Ken Spooner? His kids have been taken away from him 5 years ago, and he was fighting in a Zambian court to get them back. Well, we'll find out what happened to him when we speak to Ken in a few minutes.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Roberto Perrone, debating the local issues.
Bill Rowe is a guardian angel. He needs volunteers for his Luton chapter.
This is not being a policeman. You can't do a policeman's job. It is giving safe passage to more vulnerable people.
Roberto Perrone.
A red kite has been rescued from a tree in Hertfordshire. There was a lost parrot in the Three Counties, and I was ready to mobilise our best people. Forget snakes on a plane. This is snakes in Hertfordshire. Potentially 27 of them.
Roberto Perrone.
And I love the animal stories. I do the animal stories.
Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
08459 455 555. Now, Milton Keynes' man was in court in Zambia yesterday, hoping to win the right to bring his sons back home. Ken Spooner's partner, Zanetta Niandwa, took their 2 young children on a family holiday to her native country 5 years ago, but never returned. As a result, he embarked on a legal case that has cost him thousands of pounds and years away from his children. The founder of an organisation called PACT, Parents and Abducted Children Together, spoke to me yesterday. Lady Catherine Mayer has been through this herself. Her former husband abducted their children and took them to Germany in 1994. She saw them for a total of 24 hours over a 10-year period. She says situations like this are not uncommon.
Well, it's bigger than people anticipate, and in fact, it is a growing problem, and which is naturally the case because there are more and more international marriages, more and more travel, more and more divorces, but sometimes you also have abductions perpetrated by parents of the same nationality. Let's say 2 Brits living in America or in Germany and one of them wanting to return home, and they defy the law by taking the children without the other parent's agreement.
Well, she has spoken to Ken about his case, but what happened at the hearing in the Zambian Supreme Court yesterday? Ken's on the line. Morning, Ken.
Good morning, Ian.
Ken, what happened? How did it go?
What an amazing day. After almost 5 years of struggles, finally, Judgment Day came, and the appeal against my the judgment for sole custody was dismissed, and I'm now in a position to return home with my children.
Hey, fantastic! So you won. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
How did you feel when the judgment was announced?
Oh, well, it was a very emotional time. I was very nervous all the way through the reading out of the judgment. But it's a fantastic judgment. It says everything that's happened, I just can't wait to get home with my kids now.
So have you got your kids with you?
No, not right now. The court ordered that they be handed over to me within 4 days of the judgment. It's going to happen. It may happen today, tomorrow, but certainly by Monday.
Is it definitely going to happen, Ken? Are you not worried that she's going to do another runner?
There's always something in the back of my mind that says, hey, there's alarm bells here, be careful. And it won't be real, of course, until I'm in England with my voice.
And what's the plan when you get home?
A massive reunion, I think. My mother hasn't seen her grandchildren for 5 years. My sister and nieces and nephews and cousins and, the whole family, really. I mean, this affects more than just the parent and the children involved.
Yeah, of course it does. It's the whole extended family. And when are you looking to fly home? What have you got a date in mind?
I haven't, no. I'm kind of keeping it under wraps a little bit for now.
Right.
But I think certainly within the next week I should be home.
Ken, listen, give us a call next week. Let us know that everything's okay and you've got the kids home. But that is fantastic news. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm over the moon.
I bet you are. Of course you're over the moon. You've got your kids back. Superb stuff there. Isn't that fantastic? Imagine that. We were talking about this yesterday. It's more common than you think that one parent nicks off with the kids. Imagine how that would feel. Just taking the kids for holiday for a week. Oh, okay, fine, yeah. Been back in a week? Yeah, no worries. 2 weeks later, when are you coming back? About that. We're not coming back and you're not going to see them again. How on earth would that make you feel? That must be terrible. We're asking this morning, your gaps in popular cultural things. What haven't you done? I've never heard Stairway to Heaven. Justin Dealey has never watched Grease. He's planning to watch it after the show this morning. I'm supposed to be involved in it. I might try and nick off early, if I'm completely honest about it. What things have you never heard, have you never seen, have you never done? Scott on the Twitter says he's never seen a musical in a theatre. Musicals in theatres are weird. I'm not really a fan. I like Jersey Boys, but that's not a proper musical. Those shows where it's lots of hits of bands, I don't really class those as musicals. I like Hair, and not just because you see them in the Nuddy. Although that bit is good. That bit is very, very good. But I do like Hair. Musicals in theatres are weird, though. I get a little bit uncomfortable when they start singing. Because where are you supposed to look? 08459 455 555. Here's something that's going to affect all of us. There are warnings. We could be on the verge of a big rise in petrol prices. So if you intended to go on a driving holiday in the UK to keep costs down, it may end up being a little bit more expensive. The AA says prices could soar by 5 pence a litre. On average, both petrol and diesel prices have already increased by 1 pence a litre in the last month. Well, if prices went up again, would that change your driving habits? Would you cut down? Would you sell the car? 08459 455 555. Howard Cox is the co-founder of Fair Fuel UK, a nationwide campaign to keep prices low. Howard, why are these prices set to go up again?
Well, there's a number of reasons for this, and good morning to everyone. The issue really is that actually is speculation, oil price speculation. Now, obviously, with the problems in the Middle East, particularly Egypt at the moment, and bear in mind Egypt isn't the biggest supplier of oil in the world, it seems to be that oil speculators sitting, we don't know where, in banks, in brokers, etc., are actually dictating what the prices will be at the oil price level.
Is there anything that can realistically be done to keep prices low?
Well, there's two things. As you know, I'm sure all of your listeners know that 60% of what goes into their tanks is tax, and that's VAT and fuel duty. The other 40% is made up by retail, oil pricing, etc. What we need is a full oil pricing and petrol pricing, diesel pricing study investigation by the Office of Fair Trading. We submitted a survey on Monday to with 370,000 signatures to it, with MPs, with the backing of the RAC, 7 million members, 20,000 hauliers, and it was turned down because they said they haven't got much evidence. Interestingly, it's amazing that earlier in the year, the EU Commission actually raided offices of Shell in London, so there must be evidence laying around somewhere, and also the US Senate is actually carrying out an investigation into oil speculation and prices as well.
There will be some people listening, Howard, who say, well, it's good that petrol's going up because with all the environmental damage that cars cause, people should be paying more.
Yes, I hear that. Many a time I'm actually on radio stations talking with environmentalists, and our 370,000 members of fairfueluk.com, they are not actually against having a nice greener environment, but they have to get to work. They have to buy food. Everything that sits in your office, sits in people's houses, arrived on a lorry. We are a motoring economy, and we need to have cheaper fuel to get the economy motoring again.
Petrol is very expensive. Is petrol going to become unaffordable for the average driver?
Absolutely. It's already that way. There's a lot of what we call fuel poverty. We're talking about gas and electricity, but it's also true about people in petrol. There are people giving up cars, people are giving up their jobs. There are nurses, district nurses, who can't afford to go to work because they can't afford to go to see their patients, etc., etc. It's happening now. It is already too expensive. We need to get back or in line with European parity, which is about 25p cheaper.
Howard Cox, co-founder of Fair Fuel UK. Well, what do you think? Petrol goes up. I mean, it's expensive now, isn't it? Kind of, but 136, 137, kind of thing. It's been a little bit more expensive. That could go up by another 5 pence. If it does go up, would you have to rethink your lifestyle? Maybe sell one of the cars, maybe sell both the cars. Maybe not drive to work, get the bus, walk. Would you have to rethink the way you live your life if petrol went up? Do give us a call, 08459 455 555. Or you can go to facebook.com/BBC 3CR and have your say on that. One tip, drive slower. Drive slower, for goodness sakes. I do a lot of motorway driving, and by driving at 60 miles an hour on the motorway, it makes such a difference. It makes such a difference to the amount I spend a week. Makes such a difference the amount I spend a week by just driving a little bit slower. Just slow down, ease off. Ease off a little bit. 15 quid a week I reckon I can save by doing that. Give me a call. How will the difference in price affect the way that you use your car? 08459 455 555. You can send me a text as well, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Go to facebook.com/BBC 3CR. Maybe you'll have to cut down on trips at the weekend with the kids. Bikes. You wouldn't want to make a move to a bicycle, would you? Oh, I can't think of anything worse than riding around on a bike. Absolute nightmare. Also, I'm using more petrol. I've got the AC on in the car. Yes, you see, that makes a difference. Right, 7:28, let's get the travel news now. Here's Adam.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Cheers, Ian. Things aren't looking too bad this morning. Certainly the M1 looking clear on the cameras. No problems yet for the A1 or the A1M, but it is slow if you're using the A1 into London through Boreham Wood. Southbound from Stirling Corner toward Mill Hill Circus, there's quite a queue building on the cameras there. It's all slow moving. On the A5, speed sensors are picking up some delays through Markyate as you make your way southbound towards the M1 at Junction 9. It's looking pretty slow past Lynch Hill. Everything running fine in Milton Keynes. No delays around Bedford yet today. The A6 is looking pretty clear on the speed sensors. Down to the M25 though, and plenty of traffic coming through anti-clockwise from the M11 in Essex round toward the roadworks section, which starts from Enfield at Junction 25. Then it's slow from Chorleywood all the way to the M40, Junction 18 to 16. The A10 is quite busy in Enfield from Bullsmore Lane to Southbury Road. On the trains, you have delays of up to 10 minutes now for Virgin services off in the Midlands between Birmingham New Street and Wolverhampton. They have a signalling problem that's affecting them through there, and it could cause some late running services to come through Milton Keynes, but at the moment everything looking absolutely fine. Piccadilly Line Tube, severe delays, Acton Town to Uxbridge. This is a signal failure at Alperton, and on the Metropolitan Line you're going to find minor delays after a signal failure at Neasden. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. Coming up to 7:30, let's get the news and sport now. Here's Catherine Boyle.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
morning, the headlines. An independent inquiry will be held into the removal of trainee doctors, which led to the closure of children's services at Bedford Hospital. Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner fears frontline jobs may have to go if the government doesn't relent in its demands for more savings. And a man's due in court today charged with the murder of 66-year-old Graham Buck in Little Gadsden.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It was Australia's day at Lords as England's top order struggled for runs on the opening day of the second Ashes test. The home side closed on 289 for 7 after Iain Bell hit his third successive Ashes century before being bowled out by Australia's Steve Smith, who took 3 late wickets. And Bell hopes that's a good sign for England's bowlers.
Smith come on and turned it straight away, so it's nice signs for us. But again, we've got a lot of important overs with the seamers. If the dry conditions stay, then we know we've got quality bowlers that know how to reverse swing the ball. And then obviously the later the game goes on, the spin's going to come into it.
Day 2 of golf's Open Championship is underway and Rory McIlroy has it all to do. The world number 2 said he felt unconscious and brain dead as he carded an 8 over par 79 at Muirfield. American Zach Johnson's the clubhouse leader on 5 under par. England's Oliver Fisher and Scotland's Martin Laird are best placed Britons on 1 under, while the US Open champion Justin Rose ended the day on 4 over. Hope Powell says she absolutely still has the appetite to remain as England women's manager, despite her side crashing out of the European Football Championships at the group stage last night. A 3-0 defeat by France ended their campaign. And Chris Froome was penalised 20 seconds for taking food inside the final 5 kilometres on yesterday's stage 18 of the Tour de France. Despite the punishment, he was still able to increase his overall lead to 5 minutes 11 seconds with just 3 stages remaining.
I was running out of sugars there towards the end, so we'd actually had a little bit of a mechanical problem with the car earlier on, so I think it wasn't with us towards the bottom of the last climb.
And that's your latest news and sports. I'll be back with more at 8 o'clock.
That's just cocky, isn't it?
Well,
That's
I think
arrogance.
with 5 minutes to spare you can be, can't you?
Yeah, you're so far ahead. You stop for Le Big Mac. That's just taking the mick, isn't it?
I think you should sit there and wait till they're in sight and then pedal off again.
Exactly.
Just, where have you been?
I'm waiting for... Oh, no, not really!
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Lots to talk about. The price of petrol. We're talking about Meppershall Care Home as well. Do you remember if we spoke to a gentleman earlier in the week who had to find a new place for his mum by Friday? Well, did he manage it? And also talking about bits and pieces you've missed in popular culture. Well, this morning we are asking, how safe do you feel when walking through your local park? Earlier this morning we heard from David Trundley. He says there's a problem of antisocial behaviour along the riverside in Buckingham, and he says not much is being done about it. Among the problems are people drinking alcohol, being rowdy and generally foul-mouthed, and a little bit of sexual behaviour going on as well. Well, our reporter Barry Caffrey visited the park yesterday, and this is what some people had to say about their experiences.
My husband came home one evening and late in the evening there were about 200 teenagers, mostly underage drinkers. One girl, he said, couldn't have been more than 15, was lying across the bridge that leads over to the Stratford Fields, which is the football club. Obviously, comatose on alcohol. So it is an issue. It speaks volumes because, I mean, the car park area, they've had to put speed bumps in there because of late night whizzing around in cars and all that sort of thing. So there is an element of it, yeah.
I came down at lunchtime and there was a young crowd of girls and boys, and their language was really rude and disgusting and very loud, so you could hear it probably the whole way along.
And what did you do? Does that put you off coming down here?
I think it does, because, I mean, you just come down just to chill out, eat your lunch, your break off work. So it isn't very pleasant, and there's quite a few elderly people that do come down, and I think it's very uncomfortable for them.
Well, that was some people in Buckingham speaking with our reporter Barry Caffrey yesterday. Mike Smith is a town councillor for Buckingham Town Council and is also chairman of the Neighbourhood Action Group. Morning, Mike. Have you spotted the problems in this park?
Oh, yes, we're aware of the problem. We have been for a year or so, which is why we've taken some action to try and avoid it.
What kind of things have you seen going on in the park?
Well, as described by your previous contributors, I think some of those reports refer to a time back. Things have improved, but we're certainly aware on the riverbank there have been groups of drinkers fairly late at night putting off people who want a late night stroll and this sort of thing.
Well, we heard David Trundley, the listener who got in touch with us, says it's still happening, and it's still happening in the daytime. People drinking in the daytime, people smoking spliffs in the daytime, sexual behaviour.
I heard David's comments, yes, and he's right, but it has reduced. The police have taken a pretty robust line with this. The new inspector covering the neighbourhood team has got a zero tolerance on such matters, and the police, I do know, have confiscated alcohol. They have put restrictions on people, telling them not to, so they can't come back within 24 hours and this sort of thing.
Well, hang on, Mike. Confiscating alcohol, if you confiscate my can of White Lightning that's cost me 32 pence, I'll go and buy some more White Lightning. And if you tell me not to come back in 24 hours, well, I'll be back in 24 hours, and that doesn't really do a lot, does it?
Well, it's what the police can do. If you don't think that's enough, then you need to take that up with Thames Valley Police.
They can impose on-the-spot fines, can't they?
They can, and they have done.
And how successful have those fines been? Is it £500 fine? Is that it for drinking in the site?
I think it's around that. I'm not sure of the exact figure.
How many of those fines have been handed out?
I don't know.
Any?
I don't have access to Thames Valley Police statistics.
Have any been handed out?
Yes.
Okay. More than 10?
I have no idea. This is something you need to take up with the police.
Well, in the greatest respect, Mike, as town councillor and chairman of the Neighbourhood Action Group, I would have thought you might have discussed this with the police.
I have discussed it with the police, and that's how I'm aware that action has been taken.
But you've not asked them for specific numbers?
I haven't done, no.
Why?
Because their statistics are produced on a monthly basis, and we'll be picking it up next Wednesday at a Neighbourhood Action Group meeting.
So next Wednesday, you'll know how many on-the-spot fines have been handed out for antisocial behaviour in the park?
Yes.
Fantastic. Could we speak to you next Thursday and get the details on that?
We can indeed. Yes.
Superb stuff.
Same time, same place.
So, well, you exactly. It's a date. Should the police be given more powers? Do you think, Mike?
I think they've probably got enough powers. They tend to take a fairly soft approach to start with and then get hard, which is I know they've been doing with a particularly hardcore group of drinkers on the riverside at Buckingham.
So if there is a hardcore group of drinkers that keep returning, obviously there's not enough being done. If they keep coming back...
I think they're local people, so they do keep coming back, yes.
But if they keep coming back being antisocial, then obviously...
Yeah, it is, yes, and they do upset a lot of people. But it is a police issue. All the town council and the Neighbourhood Action Group can do, and it's two different groups, the town council have increased, at the police request, a number of designated no drinking signs for the area so that the police can take whatever action they wish to. The Neighbourhood Action Group monitors matters and tries to come up with ideas to resolve problems and that. I mean, the Neighbourhood Action Group or the town council don't have any powers to move people on, stop them drinking, stop alcohol being sold, etc., etc.
I don't know if you've got kids or grandkids, but would you take children to this park while there are people drinking, engaging in sexual acts and smoking drugs?
No, I would not. No, I'd be very worried about it. And as a town councillor, I am concerned because we're very proud of our parks. We keep them really smart and that, and we have picnic areas that people can enjoy. And behaviour that's been described by your listeners and that is not something that we're particularly happy about, as you can imagine.
Mike, listen, thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate your time. Maybe we'll speak to you next Thursday and get some more on those figures.
OK.
Thank you very much indeed. That's Mike Smith, Town Councillor on Buckingham Town Council, Chairman of the Neighbourhood Action Group. Sounds like some great parks, and there are some great parks. If you fancy having a cheeky spliff, if you're a stoner, then there's lovely places to go and hang out. But if you're a family, if you've got kids and you want to go for a kick around with the boys or the girls, hey, come on, then you wouldn't really want to see that. Mummy, what's that funny smell? Daddy, what's that man doing? Why has he got no trousers on? You don't... Yeah, exactly. You don't want to see that, do you? 08459 455 555. Have you seen this behaviour in the parks? Not just at Buckingham, at Beds, Herts and Bucks. Have you come across it? What do you think? 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Pat's in Houghton Regis to talk on policing. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning.
We've had two police stories recently. Yesterday that crime has gone down, and today that we're going to have to cut down on the number of bobbies on the street. What's your take on all of this?
Well, we might as well cut down on the bobbies on the street for what work they're doing with reducing the crime levels when it comes to antisocial behaviour and other low-level crimes, it really angers me because, you know, when you ring them up and say, well, I've got some footage of kids on a motorbike with no crash helmets, I took footage because it was in my car, they actually come across my car, come and have a look at it. Oh, yeah, we'll be down. That's 7 weeks ago. Not a sign. Not a sign.
But the crime figures are down, Pat. Did you not hear David Lloyd in a couple of days ago?
Yeah, it's all. Oh, what do they call it? PR stuff, isn't it? Really?
How can
you can manipulate crime figures by just giving people warnings. They don't get recorded.
You sound a bit dubious about the whole thing. What would you like to see done, Pat?
Well, I'd like to see the PCSOs disbanded and put more frontline police, real policemen on the beat, out there doing the job.
But there's not the money, is there? And I'm not quite. Everyone says I want to see more bobbies on the beat. I'm not quite sure if that actually makes a difference. Does it?
Well, there is money there because if you do get rid of all the PCSOs, you've got money straight away. And instead of having those as professional witnesses, as Bedfordshire Police call them, we don't want professional witnesses. We want policemen that are actually going to arrest people. And that's the difference.
But do bobbies on the street... this is always the line everyone... What do you want for police? I want to see more police on the street. I'm not convinced that having, seeing two coppers walk down the street, I'm not convinced that actually has an effect on the levels of crime.
No, it won't have an effect on the levels of crime if you've got people from the top saying to their bobbies on the beat, just warn them. Don't issue any tickets to them. Just warn them, and maybe they may not do it the next time. And these criminals laugh at our police when they're on the street. They don't really... they're not given the powers that they really strive as policemen to use. And that's what they need to have, those powers back.
Pat, thank you very much indeed. Pat and Houghton Regis. Well, what do you think? 08459 455 555 after 9. JVS is asking, do you honestly think we need more police on our streets?
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Doing, doing, doing. The Bee Gees are everywhere. Why are the Bee Gees everywhere? They're in the G2. There's a new book out about them. They're on the front of the garden. Why are the Bee Gees everywhere? Oh, the Lion is doing a tour, isn't he? I think. What's his name? Barry Gibb, the last surviving Bee Gee. And he's given up his retirement to go back on tour. I never really got the Bee Gees. I'm not a massive Bee Gees fan. I like the early 60s stuff. I like, what do they call it? I like Words. I like I've Got to Get a Message to You, which I think is about a man being hung. Lots of songs in the 60s are about men being hung. Who could name another song about a man being hung? Anybody? Tom Jones, Green Grass of Home. It's about him being hung. And that was... Here's a thing. The song before that was called Delilah. What's that about? It's about him stabbing a woman. The next song, Green Grass of Home, about a man being hung. Isn't that interesting? You couldn't release a song now, could you? About, oh, yeah, my girlfriend cheated on me, so I stabbed her. Kicked down the door and stabbed her. You couldn't do that. It's a weird concept for a song. Tom, got a great song for you. Think it's going to be a smash hit to follow up with It's Not Unusual. Oh, yeah, lovely. What's it about then? Well, basically, you see a silhouette of your girlfriend having a bit with another fella. Oh, yeah, lovely. Sounds good. Go on. What happens next? Well, you kick down the door and you stab her. Fantastic. Oh, fantastic, boys. We'll do that. Yeah, lovely. You wouldn't get it now. You wouldn't get Justin Bieber doing a song about about putting a cap in someone's backside, but maybe you would. You never know. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, quick look at the front pages. The Independent, outcry at fresh hacking cover-up. And blood money. Guess what's just been flogged off to private equity? What? They're selling our blood? Now, that's a scoop. The government has been accused of gambling with the UK's blood supply after selling the state-owned NHS plasma supplier to Bain Capital. The US... We've sold our blood to the Americans? No. We used to own that island over there, and do you know what? I think it's about time we went back over there and took it back. They're not getting our blood. They're not getting our blood, are they? The Times. Kate Moss has a skirt that's blown up in the wind, just as there were some photographers there. There's a coincidence. The Guardian, there's a sweaty man. There's a sweaty man on the front page. That's not news. You should have seen me last night, naked, sweating like nobody's business. Incompetent? I admit I used the wrong word, says Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch has admitted he was wrong to describe phone hacking and corrupt payments investigations by police into his company and its journalists as incompetent in a letter sent to the chairman of the Commons Home Affair Select Committee. Oh, yeah, all right. You were wrong, were you? Rupee? Well, you were wrong. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. Oh. Can you hear the wind? And now I recognise that as Led Zeppelin. I'm guessing that's Stairway to Heaven. Stop it!
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
They're very determined, aren't they, Ian? Really?
They're keen to get it in. I'm not listening to Stairway to Heaven.
Yep, I respect your decision. The M1 northbound, as you make your way over toward Northamptonshire, there's a lane closed off between junction 16 at Daventry and 17 at the M45. Lane 1 is closed there. We're not sure why. Could be an accident, could be a breakdown. We'll give you an update on that as soon as we have it, but certainly something to be aware of if you are travelling north this morning. Things looking clear on the southbound side of the M1. No problems as you make your way past Milton Keynes. All looking good round Luton and down toward London. The A5 quite busy though. The A5 slow in Markyate from Lynch Hill down toward the M1 at junction 9. The A414 in St Albans looking quite slow on the speed sensors as you come to the London Coney roundabout and the A1081. Things running well in High Wycombe though, no problems on the M40. M25 slow anti-clockwise from the M11 back in Essex round to Enfield through the roadworks, and then it's slow from Chorleywood to the M40. Into London, the A1 busy in Boreham Wood, Stirling Corner to Mill Hill Circus. Virgin Trains report delays off in the West Midlands from Birmingham to Wolverhampton. Metropolitan Line Tube, minor delays because of a signal failure, and severe delays on the Piccadilly line, Acton Town to Uxbridge because of another signal failure. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. 7:46, it's Friday the 19th of July. I'm Iain Lee and these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. An independent inquiry will be held into the removal of trainee doctors which led to the closure of children's services at Bedford Hospital. Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner fears frontline jobs may have to go if the government doesn't relent in its demands for more savings. In sport, Day 2 of golf's Open Championship is underway and Rory McIlroy has it all to do after carding an 8-over par 79 at Muirfield. Oh. Coming up, we've been following the story of the Meppershall care home. Today it's closing. All of its residents need to be out. We'll be speaking to one gentleman to find out if he did manage to find somewhere for his mum to go. Before that, here's the weather with Elizabeth Rossini.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, good morning. It's going to be another glorious day. Lots of blue skies and sunshine right across the three counties. A little bit of an easterly breeze picking up. You might feel that across parts of Hertfordshire today. Best of the temperatures, we're looking at across Buckinghamshire now 28, 29 degrees Celsius quite widely here, I'd say. Still 27, 28 degrees across the other two counties as well. It's going to be another lovely day. Lots of sunshine and some blue skies as well. As we head through into this evening and overnight, a few changes. We've got clouds spreading in from the east. That's going to stick around for much of the morning, I think, tomorrow, and then gradually clear to sunny spells into the afternoon. So, yes, there will be some sunshine around tomorrow, but not quite as abundant, and we will have to wait a few hours through the morning for it to develop, I think, particularly across parts of Hertfordshire once more. It is going to be cooler over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I think we're looking at 24 or 25 degrees Celsius as a high. So, a little bit more refreshing, but the hot and the humid weather is going to be back into next week. Yes, the heat has been quite dry so far, but it's going to turn a lot muggier next week and temperatures possibly climbing into the 30s again. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much.
Nick Coffer, across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
Today, to celebrate the beautiful weather, we're taking the programme to the Waterways Festival in Watford.
Nick Coffer.
We'll bring you all the sights and sounds from the day, including learning about the boating lifestyle on the Grand Union Canal.
Across Beds, Herts and Bucks.
Plus, I'll have a go at bricklaying, there'll be live music, and I'll get to meet one of the UK's last surviving towpath tractors and finding out what they actually are and what they do.
Nick Coffer.
Live from the Waterways Festival in Watford. Today from midday
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, today, a Bedfordshire care home, which was criticised in a report by the Care Quality Commission, will close its doors for good. The story about Meppershall Care Home has certainly moved on very quickly. We covered it at the end of last week. Then, on Monday, the news was broken on this show that Central Bedfordshire Council were announcing it would shut, and all 70 residents would have to find alternate accommodation. We heard Beryl's story. She had to find a new place for her husband, who has Alzheimer's. Fortunately, she was able to find one quite quickly. He moved in on Monday and settled in, well, as far as we know, settled in very well, and she seemed very relieved by it all. On Tuesday, I spoke to Wally Thrale from Sandy, who was in the process of trying to find somewhere suitable for his mum. Well, Wally joins me now, so we can find out what happened. Wally, any success?
Yes, she moved yesterday into a home in Hitchin.
Fantastic. When did you find this home?
We went round on Tuesday. We knew about it anyway because a relation of my wife had stayed in there before anyway, so we knew about the place. So she's moved in. One of the things that my mum was asked by a social worker was did she want to move to another place, and if she said no, then I think she would have had to have gone home, which would have been a crazy situation.
Yes. Now, you remind me, your mum has Alzheimer's, doesn't she?
Yes, mild dementia.
And it would have been impossible for her to go home and live on her own or live with you, so the home was essential.
Yes.
Are you happy with... One of the concerns was location, wasn't it, for you and I think your sister being able to go and visit. Are you happy with the location?
Well, it's longer for me to get to, and it's also quite a bit more expensive, which means our money will run out sooner than later. So that's not helped either. And I know of somebody else that was trying to find somebody, and they still were struggling to get a place. So it might have been advisable to try and find out if there were enough places before they closed it.
How happy are you with the help that you got when from the council in terms of finding a place?
We wanted to find it ourselves because my view was that the council wanted to get everybody out, and they weren't really concerned about where they went. They could have gone out of county as far as they were concerned, but they just wanted everybody out. We wanted to make sure that the place was A, acceptable and a decent place, and B, somewhere we could get to reasonably easily. So we had different priorities to the council. They wanted to get everybody out by today.
In terms of payment, there'll be some people listening who don't quite know how it works. I'm assuming your mum has got over the threshold, is it £23,500 in savings?
Yes.
So that means she's responsible for all her care.
That's right.
And just remind people, when it falls below that threshold, what happens?
Then the council will start paying, but the social worker was at great pains to point out to me that as soon as she gets to this threshold, then she won't be able to stay where she is at the moment because it's too expensive, and the council won't pay for that. So she'll have to move again.
She'll have to move again. It's just, it's an unfortunate chain of events. How was Mum on the move? Was she okay?
Yes, I understand she was. My sister went in yesterday, my wife did, and my daughter. I wasn't able to go yesterday, but I understand everything was okay after the move. So, yes, we're in a position where we didn't expect to be last week.
And did she seem to be settling in okay? It wasn't too stressful for her?
No, I think there's a lot of caring people where she's gone, and they were at great pains to make sure she was okay and looked after and all that sort of thing. So, yes, she was being cared for well yesterday.
And did you speak to any of the other residents of the home, any other families, about how they were coping with this?
Well, there's somebody else I know who's got a relation in there, and she emailed me a couple of days ago saying that her parents were trying to find a place for this relation, and they were struggling. Because this is what we found. We were going around many care homes or phoning them up, and they had no places left because they were being booked by the people coming out of Meppershall. This is my point to the council. Perhaps they should have made sure there was sufficient space available in the county before they closed the place down.
It all happened very quickly, didn't it? Last week we were talking about how, they needed to buck up their ideas because the CQC had failed it on several things, and they were looking to the future, and we can turn this around. Then suddenly on Monday, it's closing. Everyone's got to be out by the end of the week.
Well, they didn't get the new manager any time. She was there for about 8 days, I think, something like that, 8-9 days. That's hardly time to turn things around. And they said on Friday, we want to make sure things are going to get better, and then on Sunday they decided to change it and close it. I mean, it's just not consistent, the things that they were saying. I just don't understand where they were coming from. There seems to be a bit of an agenda here, and I don't understand what it is.
In your opinion, Wally, how has this all been handled?
Poorly. There was far too lack of consultation. It all came about very quickly. There might have been a problem in one particular area, but it seemed to have affected the whole of the home. When we visited, and we visited many times, we didn't see anything untoward in that place. My mum was in the Raleigh floor, and the care was good. She was looked after well, so we didn't see any of this coming at all.
Wally, listen, hopefully Mum will settle down and she'll enjoy her time in the new place.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. That's Wally Thrale there. Very stressful finding a home for someone. 08459 455 555. Hey, kids! Petrol's going to go up. I know, that's great news, isn't it? We're all using a bit more petrol because the AC sucks that juice down like there's no tomorrow. Could go up as much as 5 pence a litre. Well, how is that going to affect your driving habits and your lifestyle? Les is in Luton. Les, if petrol goes up by 5 pence a litre, what changes are you going to have to make?
Well, the problem, Ian, I won't be able to make no change. I just got to live with it. I used to have a petrol car, and I changed from petrol to diesel because at the time diesel were cheaper, and since then diesel have gone up and gone up and gone up. Right now, you mentioned about taking the bus.
Yeah.
If we all ditch our car, and take the bus, they would have done the same thing. They would just put up the bus fare because it would be big demand for the buses, and they will just continue to keep on putting the bus fare up and up and up. So it's a no-win situation for people like me and others.
Well, hang on, Les. If more people use the bus, they wouldn't need to put the bus fare up, would they? Because they'd be making even more money. Or am I being naive?
But remember, there were more diesel cars on the roads these days than what it used to be, and they did the same thing, did they?
Yep, you're absolutely right. 5 pence a litre is a lot of money, Les. You just have to suck it up, would you, and absorb that cost?
I just have to, because I understand a few weeks ago, American was paying about £2 a gallon, right, for their petrol, and they were crying. £2 a gallon, right? They said petrol are bought in dollars. So why are we paying so much for our petrol? In Kuwait, I understand the price of a litre of petrol in Kuwait is 5 pence.
What? 5 pence a litre in Kuwait? Right, hang on a minute. I'm driving to Kuwait, Les. I'm going to stock up. Les, thank you very much indeed. Facebook.com/BBC3CR. Dawn says, they've been putting up prices again over the last month. My local area has gone up at least 5 pence in that time. Shame they never bring it down when oil prices drop. Downright greedy. Jeanette says, Bedford is the most expensive place for petrol. In Uxbridge, it's 133.9, and Taunton, it's 128.9. 133.9 I'd jump at, to be honest. Tammy says, I don't have a choice about whether to drive or not. Firstly, the buses round here only go to Bedford, almost as if nowhere else exists. So I'd probably have to take at least 2 buses to get to work. Second, trains aren't too expensive to use on a regular basis. And finally, I couldn't manage to carry all the medical equipment I have to carry on public transport. Trevor says, it seems that the petrol is already creeping up now. It's up to 136.9 around Houghton Regis. And a comment, we've got an email here, people talking about antisocial behaviour in a park, a story that a listener got to us. Andy in Chesham, Bucks, has emailed us. Some people really don't want other people to have fun. Young people by the river, even drinking, outrageous. Move them on so the decent, i.e. old people, can do what they want. If they're hammered or aggressive, maybe, but they have the right to enjoy the place too. Some people just don't want to remember what it's like to be young. Well, I suggest that, having a spliff and having, can you say having it off on the radio? I don't know if you can. But indulging in acts that should be kept within closed doors, I would suggest is antisocial behaviour. And you don't want to just sit people there with cans of Strongbow and Diamond White, do you? In a park? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 northbound, you're going to find a lane closed on the exit slip at junction 10 for the Luton Airport Spur. There's been an accident there and things are looking slow. Further northbound, we've found out what's going on just across into Northamptonshire. It's a lane closed off because of a broken down lorry. It's having a tyre change between Daventry and the M45. The A5 southbound around Markyate looking slow between Lynch Hill and Luton Road. Quite busy down toward the M1 at Junction 9. Anti-clockwise M25, heavy from the M11 through to the A10 at Enfield and into the roadworks, then slow again from Chorley Wood round to the M40. The A1 looking slow if you're driving into London through Boreham Wood from Stirling Corner toward Mill Hill Circus. All clear on the M40. Good news for the trains. Virgin back to normal in the West Midlands. Metropolitan line, a normal service running once again after the signal failure, but still severe delays for the Piccadilly line, Acton Town to Uxbridge. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Adam. In the next hour, more on Beds Hospital and how will the increases in petrol affect you?
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning, it's 8 o'clock. I'm Catherine Boyle. The headlines: GPs may take on Bedford hospital services, frontline policing concerns in Bedfordshire, and Little Gadsden suspect due in court.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Bedford's GPs may take on some of the children's services currently unavailable at the town's hospital. Dr Peter Parry-Oakden from the Bedfordshire Clinical Commissioning Group is looking to address concerns raised at a public meeting at Borough Hall yesterday, and he told Iain Lee current plans to send children to neighbouring hospitals could be modified.
There was a real concern expressed by the fact that the A&E department would be closed to all children, and I think there was some recognition at the meeting yesterday that maybe that could be looked at to see whether we couldn't actually provide some of the care locally. And certainly we talked about actually general practitioners in Bedford might be able to take up some of the slack. So we're looking at seeing how we could perhaps help with that.
Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner has expressed concerns about the sustainability of the current level of frontline policing in the face of more cuts. The Prime Minister is suggesting that falling crime figures prove the police can be effective with fewer resources. But Ollie Martins feels there's very little room for manoeuvre.
What HMIC's report highlights, particularly in relation to Bedfordshire, is that we are facing a cliff edge. We have done everything in terms of collaboration, in terms of how we use our resources. We have cut crime by an above average amount. We are performing really well, but we're now at a point where the only further cuts that we can make are to the front line, and as HMIC highlight, the thin blue line is getting worryingly thin.
A man's due in court today charged with the murder of 66-year-old Graham Buck in Little Gadsden on Saturday. 55-year-old Ian McLaughlin has also been charged with robbery and possession of cannabis. A man and a woman will also appear at court in Hatfield charged with assisting an offender. A man from Hertfordshire has been jailed for stealing £133,000 that was supposed to go to charity. Christopher McKnight took the money from his best friend after he passed away, as Lee Agnew reports.
The court heard the 53-year-old from Bovingdon was executor of the will, which said the money should be given to the charity Action for Children. But McKnight transferred the money to his own bank account, which he then used to pay for a lavish lifestyle. Although attempts by the charity were made to recover the money, he avoided handing it over. McKnight from Howard Agnew Close pleaded guilty to theft and was sentenced to 27 months in prison.
The government has given a positive assessment of the benefits of Britain hosting the Olympic and Paralympics last year. A report says the Games cost around £9 billion to stage and have already brought in more than that. It also says there's been a rise in long-term participation in sport and people volunteering to help their communities. Speaking of sport, American Mike O'Meara is one shot off the lead after 2 holes of his second round at the Open Championship. Overnight leader Zach Johnson tees off this afternoon along with Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose. The world number 1 Tiger Woods is 3 shots off the lead and he starts his second round at 9:44. The weather dry, hot and sunny with a top temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. That's 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Tiger's got his mojo back, yeah? And we know where he gets his mojo from, don't we? We know where Tiger Woods draws his golfing powers from, don't we, Catherine? Hey?
Lots of practice and hard work?
Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it was... nice one. Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. It's the last hour of the show. And then it's the weekend. Oh, yes. I'm going to learn banjo in a hotel room in Birmingham today. Yes, I am. Going to Birmingham. I've got my banjo and my how to play banjo book in the boot of my car. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to annoy everybody else in the rooms either side of me. I can sing it. I can't do it with my fingers. Lots coming up on the last hour of the show, including the story that's led the news all week. Bedford Hospital and its decision to close paediatric services. Parents have been voicing their concerns. A meeting was held yesterday to look at the way forward. We'll have the latest on that. Petrol prices could go up by 5 pence a litre. Oh, thanks, petrol guys. Thank you so much, petrol guys. Apparently in Kuwait, it's only 5 pence a litre. I'm going over there and filling up my little green jerry can. Petrol goes up. How will you have to change your lifestyle? Sell a car? Sell a kidney? Sell a kid? And with the revelation, I've never heard Stairway to Heaven. Just a bit of it. Justin Dealey has never seen Grease. And political reporter Paul Scoins has never seen a horror film. He's never seen a horror film. What bits of pop culture have you missed out on? Facebook.com/BBC3CR. You can send me a text as well if you want, 81333. Start your text, 3CR. But the best way to get in touch, this is how we all prefer it, isn't it? Isn't it? It's the telephone. Give me a call. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's growing concern amongst parents who use Bedford Hospital about the future of children's services there. An independent inquiry was announced following a meeting yesterday, though that won't be delivered until autumn at the earliest. Parent Ana Menendez says Milton Keynes is just too far to go in an emergency.
I'm really worried about it because my child just had convulsions, fits because of temperature, so I had to call the ambulance. So I need things locally. Children get sick. If I'm in Milton Keynes, it's a long way, and you are worried. I'm the only one driving in my family, so I have to take them. I will be worried sick and in the motorway or A6 or A421. Here it takes me 10 minutes, Bedford Hospital, and I always had a good experience over there.
Well, I'm joined now by Richard Fuller, Conservative MP for Bedford, who joins us now. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Ian.
Richard, how did the meeting go yesterday?
Well, I commend the Mayor for holding the meeting. I think it was useful for everyone to look at some of the issues. There were some concerns that came out. In particular, I'm concerned that time is ticking for the hospital to get their plans in place so that the concerns of the local resident we just listened to are allayed.
What have been the concerns raised by your constituents?
A lot of them are concerned about transportation. Normally, if you have a very sick child and you have to go to Great Ormond Street or to Addenbrooks, you do have to pay for the transportation. But here, the change is being made because of failures at the hospital. And a lot of mums and dads are saying, now it's going to cost me, instead of costing me maybe £3 or £4, it's going to cost me £24 or so to go over and see my child if he or she gets sick in Milton Keynes. And for hard-pressed families, that's quite a lot of money. And there's no answer yet on how and whether it will be possible to subsidise parents whilst paediatric services are transferred to other hospitals.
We've heard on this show from several local people who want you, Richard, to do more. They think you have the power and that you can make a difference.
Well, I think the most important thing is patient safety, and I don't think you want a politician making decisions about patient safety. I think they've had 10 different forms of doctors and ambulance services involved in coming up with a plan that's safe on paper. It's their job to make sure that it's safe in practice. It's my job to be like a bad rash all over that hospital to make sure they get this done.
So what are you doing?
Well, I'm planning to continue the conversations that I've been having with the hospital, conversations with the Ambulance Services Trust to see if they can make sure they've got the adequate ambulances in place, with the commissioners about the consultation. Yesterday at the meeting, John Rook, the head of the commissioning group, said that he was interested in people to take part in the consultation. I want to take part in that consultation because I think it's important there's a strong local voice. And I also think there needs to be a strong local voice in the inquiry. King's Fund and the Nuffield Trust are excellent academic medical bodies, but what we need in that inquiry is also some people who can speak up for Bedford and speak up for their patients. And so I should be pressing the hospital to include those local voices in that inquiry too.
There must have been a point, Richard, looking back at this, at which this issue could have been resolved so the public and us would never have been aware. Things could have been sorted out in the past. This needs to be closely scrutinised because it would appear that so many things have gone wrong.
I think that's right, Ian, and it goes back a number of years. I think people say it goes back to 2005 that there have been warnings issued by the deanery to the hospital about concerns for supervision, clinical supervision of the doctors in the junior doctors in the paediatric units. That's why we need a very thorough, detailed inquiry to look at what went wrong. I do, though, believe that right now, in any organisation, when you're in a crisis, you have to focus on getting the plan ready, the services ready for when changes are made. And as we saw in the review yesterday, there appeared to be a little bit more the hospital needs to do to get that plan in place. So for now, personally, my focus is going to be on making sure the hospital's doing all it can to get everything ready for parents by the end of this month.
We've heard that trainees who raised concerns were made to feel very uncomfortable and were told they were being emotional. Some people have suggested there may have been a bully or a culture of bullying from some of the senior staff at Bedford Hospital. Are you going to look into that, Richard?
Well, I am. I think one of the things that we're seeing in this new era of transparency and openness in the NHS is the public don't want to have stories about doctors being told to be quiet. I think in the past there were gagging orders in the NHS so that people who left the NHS couldn't talk about some of the problems. We need transparency, we need openness, and if there is evidence of junior doctors being bullied, being told that they shouldn't talk about things that were going wrong, then that evidence needs to be shone in the light of day. That's the job of the independent inquiry, and that's why I'm concerned we have local people involved in the inquiry, not just the medical experts.
For a town the size of Bedford not to have a fully functioning children's unit, that's embarrassing, isn't it? It's a disgrace. It doesn't show the town you represent in a very good light.
No, we need to have a full range of modern paediatric services in Bedford that are sustainable. But I think that's slightly different from slapping back as quickly as possible a situation that's not safe and sustainable. So the opportunity that we have caused by this failure at the hospital, the opportunity, if there is one, is to decide what that modern range of paediatric services should be in Bedford and to put it on a sustainable basis so that it isn't susceptible to the same shortcomings that the existing paediatric services obviously were.
Sorry, are you saying from that paediatric services will return, but they'll be scaled down from what they have been in the past?
No, I think they'll be modern. If you look at some of the work that the Royal College of Paediatricians are talking about and the way in which they talk about the delivery of paediatric services today, if they were to design and say, these are the experts who deliver their care, they look for a different configuration, maybe putting more resources out of the hospital into the community. But it does mean that the full range of services will be available to people in Bedford.
But not in the hospital?
A different way of delivering, exactly. A different way of delivering it. Maybe not all in the hospital.
Oh, this is interesting. This is because we've been... Stephen Conroy, the acting chief exec, who's a little bit vague, I think we can say that quite safely, has sort of implied that he hopes to have the paediatric unit up and running by March of next year. But you're saying that all of those services, they'll be available, but they might not be available in the hospital. They'll be out in the community.
They might be out in the community. They might be delivered at the hospital by different groups. For example, we have eye services delivered at Bedford Hospital by Moorfields. Moorfields is an excellent specialist in eye services, and they deliver it at Bedford Hospital. That could be the solution in the future, that we get a modern set of paediatric services delivered by the experts in that area. And Dr. Hilary Cass, who's the head of the Royal College of Paediatricians, I think has written and spoken about this. And I'm keen that we get the best, most up-to-date thinking about paediatric services so that we can deliver a sustainable range of paediatric services here in Bedford.
The government has talked about big medical centres of excellence. Do you see that Bedford Hospital is one of the victims of this, and it's gradually being scaled down?
No, I think we need to see this as for what it is. This is a failure of clinical supervision of junior doctors. And Dr. Ed Neal, who's the medical director at Bedford Hospital yesterday, was speaking that he's already in communication with the deanery to return those junior doctors. Returning those junior doctors enables that unit in Bedford Hospital to go back to providing the range of services, albeit as I would hope on a modern, sustainable basis in the future. And I think we need to focus on the problem that is, not on some problems that may be out there, but actually aren't really impacting Bedford at the moment.
Well, and finally, Richard, that we've spoken to lots of parents who are worried about how their lives and their children's lives will be affected by this. What's your message to them?
Well, my message to them, if they have concerns, they should call the number, Bedford 730-500, understand what was required for their child, any concerns that they would have, get in touch with the hospital, get in touch with their GP. The GPs, as Peter Perry-Octon was saying earlier on your show, the GPs, I think, feel very confident that there's a range of services they can provide to support parents at this time. So speak to your GP, call the hospital on Bedford 730-500 and get the information that you need to be sure about what's safe for your child.
Richard Fuller, Conservative MP for Bedford, thank you very much indeed. If you want to have your say on that story, it's interesting, isn't it? I feel we're getting set up for some services to resume at the hospital at some point, but not all of them. Some of them are going to be sourced out. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, facebook.com/BBC 3CR. And of course, you can send me a text. Oh, by the way, earlier on, we had a story about those naughty drunk people. Oh, get out, Kelly Betts. You're such a child. I didn't know there were flutes in it. You're an idiot. I don't want to hear... it's 8 minutes long! Oh, turn it off! Turn it off! Stairway, take your stupid phone. I just threw it. I didn't know there were flutes on Stairway. Recorders, probably recorders. It's 8 minutes and 2 seconds long, Stairway to Heaven. Oh, I haven't got time to listen to that rubbish. For goodness sakes, very, very naughty. Very naughty. Oh, dear.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Maybe it was a tin whistle. The M1 northbound looking slow as you go past the Luton Airport Spur at junction 10. There's a lane closed on the exit slip road there because of an accident, and it's causing short delays. Northbound, there's also problems across into Northamptonshire. A broken down lorry having a tyre change between junctions 16 and 17. The A1 looking slow at the minute with queues coming down toward the Black Cat roundabout southbound. Quite clear along the A1M, and then busy again as you come into London on the A1 approaching Mill Hill Circus as you come down through Boreham Wood. The M25 anti-clockwise still looking pretty busy from Chorleywood round to the M40, and on the tubes you have severe delays for the Piccadilly line between Acton Town and Uxbridge because of signal failure at Alperton. Tickets are being taken on local buses through there. Good service on the rest of the line, no other tube problems, and the trains on the departure boards looking pretty good. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. 8:16, it's Friday the 19th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Bedford's GPs are being asked to consider providing some of the children's services which have been suspended at the town's hospital. Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner Ollie Martins has expressed concerns about the frontline jobs in the face of more government cuts. In sport, Iain Bell says England's cricketers are still in a good position in the second Ashes Test, despite losing 3 late wickets against Australia. Coming up, we'll talk more about police on our streets. The current level of frontline policing in Bedfordshire could be under threat.
BBC Three Counties Radio. Every Saturday morning from 6.
Do you trust the NHS because there are problems afoot at Bedford Hospital?
David Prever.
There was a doctor present. He had a look at it and he said, don't worry about it.
What was it then? I'm desperate to know what was wrong with you.
It was
Achilles tendon. They told you to walk it off.
Yeah.
Every Saturday morning from 6.
We were in our paediatrics department being told that our 4-year-old son, as he was then, was a type 1 diabetic. And without the paediatrics team, we probably would have gone to pieces by now.
David Prever. Every Saturday morning from 6 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
He walks like a penguin. He talks like a penguin. He walks like a penguin, but I got wise. It's JVS in disguise.
Gosh, you're in a Friday mood, aren't you?
I am. The sun is out. I've got a banjo in the boot of my car, and I'm going to learn it in a hotel room in Birmingham.
Now, it's very funny. Isn't this funny?
Yep.
Because you've been looking a bit pale this week, and yet today, you were out in the sun yesterday, weren't you? You got a nice little, slightly rosy head.
Oh, this one, yeah. No, I was striding purposefully through Oxford Street yesterday. Oh, it was hot in London.
Was it?
In London, yes. Oh, it was horrible.
London's a very hot place.
It was very unpleasant, but yes, I'm glad it's given me a little bit of colour.
It has. You got a nice little bit of colour.
The reason I was singing that song was because you were just tiptoeing in there, a little bit of tippy toes. And out of the corner of my eye, trying not to disturb me while I was doing the news, and it disturbed me because I could just see you looking like Pingu as you came in.
Yes, I do have a funny walk.
You've got a little waddle.
I do have a funny waddle.
Why is that?
I don't know. I don't know. No. I think when I'm walking with purpose...
Yes.
then I think my walk is all right.
Yep.
But when I have to do what I would call a leisurely stroll,
Yep.
I do look like a duck. I don't know why. I think it must be something to do with my hips. Perhaps my hips are a bit funny.
Your hips don't lie.
No, that's true.
I fell in love with you a little bit yesterday.
Oh.
No, what's wrong with that?
What do you mean you fell in love with me?
I got a little bit of a Radio Man crush on you.
Oh, why?
Because, as you know, I'm a big fan of the Consumer Hour. And you fell out with one of your consumers. It was wonderful. The fella at the water, was it yesterday, the water the meter thing, and he was calling about his son, and it turns out his son and his son's neighbour, they share a water meter, and the son's neighbour sounds very reasonable, wants to spend 750 quid to get the water separated. So, and he's like, well, why should we pay that? I don't think she should pay it. And you were... it ended so uncomfortably. Well, Jonathan, I don't think we're going to agree on this. No, I don't think we are. All right, then. Bye. Goodbye. It was brilliant. It was so uncomfortable.
You liked that, did you?
I loved it.
Oh, gosh.
No, good for you for not pandering to him.
You enjoy my uncomfortable moments while I'm sitting in the chair squirming.
You were right, though. You were absolutely...
Not everyone agreed. I had some people saying I was wrong.
Sometimes with neighbours, you have to spend a few quid to sort things out. Of course you do. No one wants to. No one wants to get a bill for 400 quid that they weren't expecting. But if it solves the problem, then you have to do it. That's what owning a property is.
I'm sensing there might be a bit of history between those two neighbours.
The neighbour didn't want to speak to them anymore.
No, I'm sensing there's more to this story.
Yes.
There's a history.
Yeah.
But as far as the water is concerned, no, I think the sensible neighbourly thing to do is to say, well, look, let's look at a way of getting this resolved, and then let's split the cost between the two of us.
Yeah, of course.
Affects both of us in a bad way.
When you own property, this is why you always have a little slush fund. What do they call it? A little bit of a fund for things that might happen to your property.
Unexpected.
The roof blows. I haven't got the money to fix it. Well, you should always have a few quid tucked away. Oh, I've got to pay 400 quid to my neighbour to separate our water supply. Well, that's life.
The fence has blown down. It's my responsibility, but I've not got the money.
Yeah, well, that's life. You've got to pay for it.
Buy a house. You've got these kinds of responsibilities, haven't you? We're both two old men.
We're both turning into my mum. Isn't that nice? Now, on your show this morning, police.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Go on.
On the big phone in this morning, do you honestly think we need more police on our streets? The current level of frontline policing in Bedfordshire could be under threat due to budget cuts. The Independent Inspectorate of Constabulary say making savings of nearly £20 million will mean there may not be enough police on the streets to do the job. Nationally, the police need to save £2.4 billion. But are our streets no-go areas? No, they're not. I mean, look at the crime levels today. We know that crime is at its lowest level since, 1991, is it? And we've seen crime at its lowest level since 1991, despite fewer police on the streets. I mean, I don't know about you, but for as long as I've been doing radio phone-ins, people have always said, we need more bobbies on the beat.
Want to see more bobbies on the streets?
We need more visible policing.
I'm not convinced that would make a difference.
Well, I'm just wondering whether... I mean, when we get our council tax bill... each year, it shows, doesn't it, how much you're paying for your council tax and how much you then pay for the local police.
Yep.
I'm not sure whether ultimately I would want to see that bill increase in order for me to have more police walking on the streets, because perhaps it's not necessary. Or is it? From 9 this morning, do you honestly think we need more police on our streets? 08459 455 555.
Balls.
Pardon?
Balls. Mothballs. You need mothballs. You've got a little hole in your shirt, you've got moths.
Do you know... That is very interesting. I've worn this on purpose.
Oh.
For something coming up on the consumer programme.
Oh, I shall be listening.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
One day I'm going to record the bits that Jonathan and I say off mic. And then burn those tapes, because we'll probably get into terrible trouble for it. Now, as Jonathan just said, the current level of frontline policing in Bedfordshire could be under threat. Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary, a group independent of the government and the police, say it's concerned about the force's ability to maintain its services to the public when faced with further budget reductions. They currently have until March 2015 to make savings of just under £20 million. Wow. Well, earlier on in this show, Ollie Martins, the Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire, told me he agrees with the HMIC's report.
I have been saying that because of our size and because of the particular challenges that we face in Bedfordshire in terms of policing challenges. We are heading for a place where, because we've done all the collaboration, we can do, because we're as efficient and low cost as we can get, we're running out of places where we can find the savings that we're being told by the government that we've got to find, other than looking at frontline policing.
Well, Bernard Ricks from Bedfordshire is an advisor to the police and has written several reports for the Home Office on policing and joins me now. Bernard, can Beds Police function with the deep cuts they face? 20 million quid by March 2015 they've got to save.
There's some big challenges there. What the HMIC report identifies, though, is the challenge beyond 2015. The force has identified the way in which it's going to handle the cuts up to 2015 and the challenges beyond that.
Can they do it? It's huge amounts of money they have to save. Ollie Martins has said already he's cut as many corners as he can. I'm paraphrasing slightly. They're in trouble, aren't they, if they've got to save this much money?
There's more to do, and HMIC says that as well. It says, given continued pressure on budgets, choice not to collaborate is a luxury that simply cannot be afforded. Bedfordshire, Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire were going to collaborate on business support functions, and that fell apart about 4 or 5 months ago. I know that the PCC is looking at alternatives with Cambridgeshire, with Northamptonshire and with local government within Bedfordshire. The onus is on looking for those opportunities that still remain within collaboration, and collaboration it seems very much the way forward.
We always quite often hear, we need more bobbies on the street, we need more coppers doing the beat. And people seem to think that seeing a pair of police officers walking up and down a residential area will cut crime. Is that true?
Well, it's certainly reassuring. If you see a uniformed officer on the streets, then there's a significant amount of reassurance from that, and the absence of any uniformed officers does lead to some concerns. Crime has fallen, a number of officers has fallen across the country, and if there was a direct link between the number of uniformed police officers and crimes, then you would have expected at a time when we're reducing the number of police officers that crime would have gone up. But the key here is on reassurance, and in my hometown of Biggleswade, I do like to see uniformed police officers. So I think the wish to have officers in uniform is an understandable one.
Well, Home Office research in the mid-'80s concluded that a patrolling police officer could expect to pass within 100 yards of a burglary taking place roughly once every 8 years. Even then, they may not even realise that the crime is taking place. So it's just to make people feel safer, isn't it? But it doesn't actually have necessarily an effect on crime rates.
Certainly, it's reassuring. The major challenge, the bigger challenge, though, is in making sure that the way in which police officers and police staff go about their business is as efficient and effective as possible. And whilst there is a great deal of reassurance and indeed intelligence to be obtained by police officers working in neighbourhoods, there are other ways in which one can improve the overall effectiveness of the force.
Rightly or wrongly, the public don't particularly feel warm to the idea of having more PCSOs patrolling the street. And Ollie Martin has got to save this money. He can't win, can he?
Well, he's keen to maintain, or I think increase, the number of PCSOs. And PCSOs certainly have a value. They are individuals that certainly I would be very reluctant to see Bedfordshire lose numbers in. So,
but they can't really do a lot, can they?
They can, actually. They may not have the full powers of police officers, but what they can do is tap into the network of information that there is in a neighbourhood. They can have the same powers as others who can detain suspects until a police officer arrives.
So they can't. If I'm smashing a shop window, could they arrest me?
Well, they have the same, very similar powers to to you and I, and they are better versed in those powers. So,
could they handcuff me?
I can't recall the exact powers under which you or I could detain somebody, but that's certainly possible.
We can go. I could put you, Mr. Ricks, if I saw you doing something naughty, I could put you under citizen's arrest, and you could tell me quite politely to jog on and then just go away, couldn't you? Do they have anything more than that?
I don't know whether you remember a few years ago, but there was a government minister who actually detained somebody in front of the Houses of Parliament, and I can't remember what the individual was doing now. And that was perfectly legal. I'm not encouraging that, though. That's certainly something where we do need to be able to call on police officers and PCSOs and have them available fairly promptly in order to deal with instances where we do need police support.
Bernard, thank you very much. You've explained that very well. Bernard Ricks from Bedfordshire, advisor to the police. Last 30 minutes, can we find anybody that's placed someone under a citizen's arrest? Could you imagine you see someone doing something naughty in the street, maybe they're doing a bit of graffiti or they've just robbed an old lady. Right, you! Yes, come here. Right, stay there. You're under citizen's arrest. What are you going to do? Well, put you under citizen's arrest and I'm going to call the police. Right, well, I'm just going to walk away. No, come back! Oh, come back, you're under citizen's arrest! Oh, it's not fair! Have you ever placed someone under a citizen's arrest? 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1 northbound, it's still slow. A lane closed on the exit slip at junction 10 at the Luton Airport Spur following an accident there. The M1 northbound a little bit further on, it's good news because the broken down lorry has had its tyre change and it's now on the move again as you head across into Northamptonshire past junction 16. The A5, slow southbound still. Speed sensors picking up delays through Mark Yates from Lynch Hill toward the M1 at junction 9. Busy in patches on the A1. It's slow as you come to the Black Cat roundabout, maybe a little bit busy on the A1M past Hitchin, and definitely a queue on the cameras as you come into London through Boreham Wood from the Barnet bypass down towards Stirling Corner. Broad Hallway in Stevenage, heavy on the A602 going toward the A1M. Friarage Road in Aylesbury is moving pretty well at the minute. It was looking a little bit slow earlier this morning. M25 anti-clockwise quite slow though from Chorleywood round to the M40. Trains running well. Tubes though, Piccadilly line severe delays, Acton Town to and from Uxbridge, signal failure at Alperton. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. 8:31 News and Sport. Now here's Catherine.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Good morning. The headlines. Bedford's GPs are being asked to consider providing some of the children's services which have been suspended at the town's hospitals. Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner Ollie Martins has expressed concerns about frontline jobs in the face of more government cuts. And a man's due in court today charged with the murder of 66-year-old Graham Buck in Little Gadsden on Saturday.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
American Mike O'Meara is 2 shots off the lead after 3 holes of his second round at the Open Championship. Overnight leader Zach Johnson tees off this afternoon along with Rory McIlroy and Justin Rose. The world number 1 Tiger Woods is 3 shots off the lead and starts his second round at 9:44. Meanwhile, the course has come in for some criticism from the likes of Ian Poulter and Phil Mickelson, who've labelled the pin positions a joke. The chief executive of the R&A, Peter Dawson, disagrees.
We're very happy with the scoring. That's about what we would expect. Good 5 under pars currently leading. That's about where we'd expect it to be. I do understand that some players get very frustrated. Ian Poulter, I know, for example, bogeyed, I think, 3 of the last 4 holes. Hardly likely to be in the best of moods, but Ian's comments will be noted and we'll have a look at it. But we're still very satisfied that the course is playable, but indeed very testing.
In football, England's women were knocked out of the European Championship after losing 3-0 to France last night. The defeat saw them finish bottom of Group C, although the England coach, Hope Powell, insists she wants to remain in the job. In cricket, it was Australia's day at Lords as England's top order struggled for runs on the opening day of the second Ashes Test. Pat Murphy was watching.
A fluctuating day ended with Australia on top, due mainly to the occasional leg spin of Steve Smith, who took 3 wickets in the final hour, including Ian Bell for 109 and Johnny Bairstow for 67. They'd added 144, rescuing England, who'd early been 28 for 3. Bell played superbly, becoming only the 4th England batsman to score centuries in 3 successive Ashes tests, while Bairstow, reprieved on 21 when bowled by a no-ball, looked secure enough till he was caught and bowled off a full toss. Smith's success proved that the ball is turning already, and that'll be noticed in the England dressing room.
And that's your latest news and sport. I'll be back with more at 9 o'clock.
Thank you very much.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sing like a flippin' angel, don't I? Don't I Just? Morning, Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Don't forget this week, today, not this week, today, the new Best Of podcast will be issued. You can get it by going to iTunes, type in Iain Lee, IAINLEE, BBC, and it will pop up. You can get the last few. They are only up there for 30 days. So get them while they're still fresh-ish. You can also go to the BBC Three Counties page and follow the podcast link and download it from there. About 45, 50 minutes long. Best bits of the week. Some serious bits, some funny bits, some boring bits. No, we cut the boring bit. We cut the boring bits out. There's a little bit of JVS in this one as well. His brilliant call from Melvin. I don't know if you heard his call from Melvin. This week. It was very funny. Well, Melvin called JVS a Nazi. I looked it up. Apparently he means Nazi. Anyway, it was an amazing bit of radio, and JVS has given me permission to put that in this week's podcast. I say given me permission. I had to licence it off him. I had to pay him £50 in cash. Does that sound about right? Is that how it works here at the BBC? I don't know. So, yes, okay, very exciting, right. But before that, Ken is in Luton. Morning, Ken.
Morning, Ian.
Ken, before I come to you...
Yes.
Justin Dealey.
Hello, Ian.
Yeah, I've just... sorry, it's just been typed on my screen that you are at a local nearby Greasy Spoon, is that correct?
I will be in the next 10 minutes, yes.
I would love a scrambled egg roll on granary with ketchup.
Yeah.
And for my colleagues, a fried egg toasted sandwich with a bit of tomato ketchup.
Right.
And producer Tara is okay.
You see, you're like a dog, aren't you?
Sorry?
You see, yesterday, I was kind enough to bring you back a nice egg sandwich.
Ken, sorry, Ken.
Breakfast.
What would you like, Ken?
I'll have double egg, sausage and chips.
Chips for breakfast?
Oh, yeah. Ken is a man after... I've not had chips for breakfast for years.
Loads of tomato sauce.
Oh. Ken, are you a fan of the hash brown?
Not really.
Oh,
no.
I like the hash brown. And I tell you what you don't get very often.
What's that?
Nice bit of bubble.
Oh, bubble and squeeze.
Oh, I love a bit of bubble.
Hey.
You don't get bubble very often. You have to go into places. You got any bubble? No, no bubble today, mate.
No, they don't know how to make it now.
So, Justin...
Damn roly-poly.
Oh, Ken, I'm coming round for yours for a fry-up, then a stodgy pudding.
It took me all my time to get the wife to go out and buy some.
Oh, I know. Women these days, they've got no respect for the stodgy pudding, have they?
No.
So, Justin, can you sort all that out?
Yes, I can arrange that.
Good lad. We'll come to you. What are you talking about in the next few minutes?
Petrol boss.
Lovely. Okay. Well, we'll come to you in a second. Thank you very much. Ken.
What?
Now that... Sorry? Now... Yeah. Okay. Now that the breakfast orders are in, which is nice, I believe you've called in about something apart from... breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
Now, policemen.
Oh.
Nurses.
Yes.
And doctors.
Yeah.
Now, if you watch Prime Minister's Question Time,
yes,
you'll find out where they all are. They're all on the front line. What? There's 4,000 extra police, nurses and doctors. What? But they're all on the front line. Because there's none round my way. So we'll have to move there, Ian.
Where exactly is this front line, Ken?
This is what I'm trying to find out, Ian.
Yeah. They've kept that secret.
I can't, I'll move there straight away if,
It sounds like a very safe, healthy place to be.
Yeah, they can't have no crime there.
Ken, have you ever seen the movie Grease?
Well, I've watched clips of it. Why?
Don't worry, I'm not asking if you've committed a crime. Justin Dealey has never seen Grease.
Well, he's not alone, really.
We're going to be watching it at 9:10 this morning, Ken. If you're in Luton, if you can pop round if you want and watch it through the window. We won't let you into the building. Security.
No, I'm too busy watching that. I'm on Neighbourhood Watch.
Oh, of course you are. You're watching from your bed, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you'll be watching... Have you ever heard Stairway to Heaven by the rock group Led Zeppelin?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever seen an episode of Friends?
No.
Ah, we've got one.
Got him.
No.
I've only ever seen one episode of Friends, and I watched it twice. Okay, I saw this episode where they go to an ice hockey game, and then a few years later, I was ill in India watching the Star Channel where they were showing Friends. I thought, I might as well watch the second episode of Friends I've ever seen. And I watched it, and I went, hang on a minute, Ross is going to get hit in the face with an ice hockey puck. And he did. Can you believe it was the same episode, Kenjamin?
Well, there you are. It goes around and...
Comes around.
Every song.
It goes around.
Ian.
Yes, Ken?
You were talking about the old songs that they rung they used to sing about getting hung and all that.
Be with you in a second, Justin.
Yeah,
yes.
no worries.
Yes, I did. The Green Grass of Home by Tom Jones, about getting hung.
Lonnie Donegan.
Yeah.
Hang your head down, down Tom Dooley. You remember?
Oh, go on, sing it to us a bit.
Hang down your head, Tom Dooley. Hang down your head and cry. Don't know what. That's about as much as I know.
Oh, bless it.
You know the gist of it.
Yeah, I got this. Is that the same song as the one where he sings about does your chewing gum lose its flavour on the bedpost overnight?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Now, that is a song. You wouldn't get Justin Bieber singing about chewing gum unless he was being paid $10 million.
Oh, well, that's it. We used to live in the old days. You're talking about that.
Sounds like you still do. Yes.
Can you remember?
Be with you in a second, Justin.
We used to go down to the fair at Waldown Park.
I don't remember that because I never used to come with you, but go on.
No, but when we used to walk through People's Park and Pope's Meadow when the grass was about 2 foot high. Oh my God.
I love grass.
Hey, you used to see the old heads going up and down there, boy. You know, you think it's a new thing.
Kinjamin, I can't believe what you've just suggested.
Yeah.
What a naughty boy.
No, they're doing their exercises.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. I wonder where it is. Just for a second, my heart sank. Justin!
Yes! How do I follow that?
Well, you have to, sir. You have to. Listen, we're talking about petrol this morning. There is strong suggestions that petrol could go up by as much as 4 or indeed 5 pence a litre. And on average, both petrol and diesel prices have already increased by 1 pence a litre in the last month. Justin, you've been looking at this for us, haven't you?
Yes, I'm on Farley Hill in Luton. I'm outside the BP garage for unleaded fuel. How much do you reckon then, Ian?
For unleaded, I don't know. Yep. I know that it's 136.9.
It's 137.9.
They've put it up this morning. Then they have put it up this morning.
And in terms of diesel, we're looking at 141.9 as we currently stand before any increases.
Ouch.
So clearly very expensive. You've been getting reaction this morning. I've been getting reaction here, asking people how any sort of increase, how that would affect their lives, and this is what people had to say.
Quite dramatically. Again, it just keeps going up and up and up. You know, my wife was ill a couple of years ago. She needs the car to get about. It's not something we've got a choice of giving up. So
that car's absolutely essential to you,
really? It is to us, yeah. Just my wife's sort of movement and freedom.
Will it change the way that you drive?
Yeah, we're just going to have to, make sure when we do go, it's essential sort of travel, really. You know, not just popping here, there and everywhere, but make it essential visits that we need to do.
And just lastly, it's the key question again, whenever we talk about these things, I always ask this question, but what do you think will be a fair price for a litre of unleaded fuel?
Oh, blimey. You know, I said, well, I'll give it up when it went over, sort of £1 a litre, but that was a long while ago. I honestly don't know. They've just got us, haven't they? We can't do anything to sort of combat it.
So, despite the price, which will go up, you'll just have to continue to keep on paying those prices. You've got no choice.
That's right, exactly that.
From a work perspective, it'll have a huge effect, mainly because as a home care provider, my carers have to obviously put fuel in their car. They have to make ends meet. From a work perspective, it has a huge effect.
Yeah. And we can all moan, can't we, about the price of things, but do you think the price of fuel, as it stands even now, but before the increase, is just vastly unfair?
Very much, especially for the people who work.
It's going to affect it really badly. I take my mum and dad shopping every week. I won't be able to afford to do that. I can't afford to go shopping for myself, never mind them.
And how unfair do you think the price of petrol is in this country?
It's really unfair. Every time you turn around, it's gone up. They just seem to put the price up whenever they feel like it.
How angry does that make you feel?
Very angry. I just can't afford to keep putting petrol in the car. It's getting ridiculous now.
It is very expensive, isn't it, Justin?
Very expensive, and of course it's so essential for people. You know, people can complain if the price of alcohol goes up, but clearly that's not essential for you to go down the pub and have a pint of lager. People need their vehicles. That lady there says that the relationship with her parents won't be as strong now, and that's purely based on the price of fuel. Now, what I would say as well, Ian, that a number of people this morning are coming up to me and they're saying to me, why on earth haven't you listened to Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin? We'll come back to that in a moment, but here's some more views from people about the price of fuel. Take a listen to this.
Ho, ho, ho. Ho, 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 you're so funny. This is the bit I've heard. I know this bit.
Yeah.
I know that bit. And she's buying a stairway to... That's all I've heard. That's all I'm ever going... I didn't know that was coming, Justin. Oh, there's a second clip of 48 seconds in my computer. I wonder if it's going to be another Vox, because we often split the Voxes into two, or whether he's going to sneak in Stairway to Heaven like an idiot.
Come on, today.
No.
This is a special day. Today, I have never seen Grease. It came out back in 1978.
Grease is the word, it's the word that you've heard.
I've missed out, I admit that. Hands up, I've missed out, and you've missed out on Stairway to Heaven. Just sit down for 8 minutes, we can have a cup of coffee, and we can listen to the tune. It's pure joy.
I tell you what, no, it's not happening. But I tell you something now, you're going to hate Grease.
Well,
it's so boring.
The feedback I've had so far has been, to be quite honest with you, horrendous. So I'm not looking forward to it.
It's not as good as Big or Gremlins.
Classic films of their time.
I love. Are you a fan of the Goonies?
Love the Goonies.
But isn't listen, I'll come round and have a Goonies party with you.
Do you know what? Years ago, I wanted to put on weight just so I could do the what was it? The chunk shuffle, the truffle shuffle. Was it called?
Oh yes. Hang on a minute. Tim's in Luton. Tim, what do you want?
Good morning.
Good morning, Tim.
Stairway to Heaven.
Yes.
Rolf Harris version.
Oh, Rolf did it, didn't he?
Yeah, you must listen to that. It's infinitely better.
Well, I'm not going to listen to any version of Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, you poor chap.
Well, listen, I don't mind callers when they're rude, but they're polite while they're doing it. Wasn't he a gentleman? Thanks, Justin. That was your cue, but that's how...
He's got a point. He's got a point. Everyone's got a point. I don't know why, and you still haven't given me a definitive answer as to why you won't listen to Stairway to Heaven.
Justin, we're losing the signal, Justin. Oh, he's gone.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Slow on the M1 northbound, there's a lane closed on the exit slip for the Luton Airport spur at junction 10. An accident on that exit slip road, so one lane is closed off, and it's not looking too bad. Certainly it's looking a bit better than it was. The A1 quite slow at the Black Cat roundabout, mainly southbound. The Barford bypass not looking too slow on the A421 from there. As you continue along the A1, it's not looking too bad along the A1M, certainly. Past Hitchin looking okay. Stevenage a bit busy on the A602 toward the A1M near Gunnells Wood Road. Then into London on the A1, it's slow southbound at Stirling Corner on the cameras. The A5 in Dunstable looking quite slow on the cameras as you go from Regent Street toward the A505, and the speed sensor still picking up delays in Markyate on the A5 southbound as you come down toward the M1 at junction 9. Now the M25 is busiest anti-clockwise from Maple Cross to the M40. It's not been a bad morning for the M25, still slow, but not as slow as some days. Piccadilly Line Tube, severe delays, Acton Town to Uxbridge, signal failure at Alperton. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Adam. We've got a band coming in, it's a Friday, and I've just thought, if they come in and play Stairway to Heaven, I'm going to destroy all of their instruments. Right, 8:47 or thereabouts. It's Friday, the 19th of July. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Bedfordshire's Police Commissioner Ollie Martins has expressed concerns about frontline jobs in the face of more government cuts. Bedford's GPs may take on some of the children's services currently unavailable at the town's hospital. In sport, the Manchester United manager David Moyes has again insisted Wayne Rooney is not for sale after Chelsea put a bid for the striker in and it was rejected. I suspect they're playing a little game. Coming up, a super cool hip band, it says here, to end Friday, followed by an egg roll and a showing of the film Grease.
Beds, hearts and bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sounds marvellous. Well, we've got some lovely weather outside today. Blue skies, feeling very warm again. Across the three counties, I think Buckinghamshire likely to get the highest temperatures today. We could be looking at 28 or 29 degrees Celsius here. Cooler towards Hertfordshire. We've got a bit of a northeasterly wind, and that's going to keep the temperatures feeling a little bit cooler, actually, but still in the mid to possibly just squeaking up into the high 20s. It's going to be another very sunny day. Lots of blue skies, a bit of fair weather cloud into the afternoon. Now, as we head through through into this evening, we've got some clouds spreading in from the east, and that's going to be with us for the start of Saturday, actually. So disappointingly cloudy start. Starting the day off on 15 or 16 degrees. The cloud eventually clearing. Certainly by the afternoon, it will be gone from just about everywhere. It will clear away from western areas first. So possibly brightening up quite quickly across parts of Buckinghamshire, western areas of Bedfordshire as well. So not turning into a bad day by the afternoon, but it will be a touch cooler because of the cloud cover early on, and also that easterly wind as well. So temperatures in the low to the mid-20s this time, possibly peaking out at around 23 to 25 degrees Celsius. Again, the best of the temperatures towards western parts. Same again on Sunday, possibly a cloudy start, clearing to sunshine later on into the afternoon. Things will be turning hot and really quite humid again into next week. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much.
If you've missed any of the programmes from the last week, you've missed things like this.
Mum's been stabbed. I mean, the most unlikely thing you ever expected to hear when you answered that phone on that day.
But there is a way you can hear it all again.
My younger sister, living with my mum in a little cottage, rang me to say, Mum's been stabbed.
Go to bbc.co.uk/3 counties and click on Listen Again. All of our programmes are available for 7 days, allowing you to listen to what you missed. bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Morning, dear listener. We'll read out. Let me read out. Oh no, we'll do those in a little bit, actually, shall we? Because we're joined by a band now. Each week we like to get some musicians in to play a little bit of music for us. No, otherwise, there's no point in them coming in. This week we have New Groove formation. They're an 8-piece ska funk reggae band. 2 of them are here, Ryan and Quinny. Well, the other 6, are they setting up? Are they? They're coming in. What's going on with them?
We wouldn't have fitted them all in, to be honest with you. Apologies. We catch them live tomorrow night at Squires at Bedford.
Hey,
got to get that in quickly.
That was good. I like what you did there. Are you the keenest one? Are you the leaders of the band?
Oh yeah, we're gagging for it.
Yeah, I bet. Tell me about it. It's a Friday in this weather. Who isn't? We're back to that park in Bedford. Now, listen. Give us a song first of all, then we'll have a little chat. What are you going to play for us?
I'm going to play Get a Bit Stronger.
Lovely.
Well, actually, I'm going to play a little thing that I wrote with Rolf Harris.
Don't you dare! Stop it! Stop it! Out! See, I've heard that bit because I've been in guitar shops in the 90s, so I've heard that bit.
Yeah.
And I've heard the bit about she's building a stairway to heaven. The rest of it, I've no idea.
It's because no one else knows the rest of the song.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very complicated song, I can assure you.
Yes. So what have you got for us?
It's called Get a Bit Stronger. It goes out to my mum, actually.
Oh.
It's a little reggae track to keep everyone happy, I think.
Away you go, fellas.
Nice and clean. Always eat your greens, always eat your greens. When you get older, then you get stronger. Heed what I say, you'll be stronger for longer. She said, yeah. Get a little stronger. Oh. She said, yeah. Live a little longer. When I was little, used to know it all. Couldn't tell me nothing specially at my school. Well, I was king of the playground, king of the scene. Couldn't teach me or tell me anything. She said, yeah. It's a little stronger. Oh.
Come on, pay attention.
She said, yeah. Live a little longer. Oh. When you're young, you just be yourself. You just wanna be free. All these people talking about, all I heard was man-made. And she said, yeah. Get a little stronger. Oh.
say to me, son, you better eat your greens, and don't you ever, ever, ever be mean, and yes, you keep yourself clean. And these little things that she said, well, didn't make much sense to me, until I turned to the man you see. And then I turned to the man you see. Yes, it's your right to be short if you take the wrong course. Don't push to the front, don't be pushed too forward. It's your life, the twist and turns. You keep your head strong with your head loose. Your world could be weird in your life as you live it. Try to compose yourself, just take a minute. Place the pieces, get some order in your life. Jump on the right track and take the good advice.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Get a little stronger. Oh, oh, oh. She said, yeah, 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 yeah. Live a little longer. Oh, oh, oh. When you're young, you just be yourself. You just wanna be free. All these people shouting about all I heard was man-made. And she said, yeah, 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 yeah. Get a little stronger. Oh, oh, oh. She said, yeah, 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 yeah. Live a little longer. Oh, she said, yeah, yeah,
Don't push to the front, don't be pushed too forward. Your life is strong when you twist and turn. You're a beautiful person with a beautiful song. The world is it's your life that you live it. Try to compose yourself, just take a minute. Place the pieces, get some order in your life. Jump on the right track and take the good advice.
Fantastic. I'll have some of that. Well done, fellas. I did think, what's Ryan going to do? Ryan's just sitting there, very polite. You're doing all the work. You've got a hat on, you're sweating, playing the guitar and singing. Ryan sat there. I thought it was nice. He's brought a friend along for support, and then you burst in, which was good. I enjoyed that. Tell us a little bit about the New Groove formation. When did you get together?
Oh, blimey. It's been rolling for about 9 years. Yeah,
is it one of those things where people kind of come and go, or has it been the same group the whole time?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, you know, band members do change.
Yep.
Sometimes, you know, it's one of those things that goes on, especially when you're in a band that goes on that long.
Yeah.
We're a festival band, so Ryan's new to the group. He's a new rapper, Ryan Mine, on the mic.
Is he?
Come and see him in action tomorrow night at the Squires in Bedford.
You've done it again. You're good. You are. Be honest. Is Ryan any good?
He's pretty good.
He's okay. He's okay.
Pretty good.
Okay, that's fine.
Pretty damn good.
Ryan, before you joined up with the band, what, you just like I don't know how it works with rapping. I know how bands get together, but were you just like an out-of-work rapper just standing on street corners or something? And how did you meet up with this lot?
Well, I've known Quinny and the guys for quite a long time.
Right.
I was in another band for a little while. Haven't done anything for a few years, and then obviously got the call up. I feel very privileged to be in the band, really, to be fair. So.
Listen, it's a cracking sound. Have you got a website or anything, or that people can go to and find out more?
Yeah, it's www.newgrooveformation.com. We've got gigs on there. Twitter's @NewGroovers, and we're on Facebook as well. New Groove, Facebook.com/New Groove Formation, I think that
is. They'll find, if they New Groove Formation, if they Google it, they'll find you. Listen, we're running out of time. I'd love another song. Cool. If I raise my hand, don't think I'm being rude. It not means you failed the audition. It means we've got to go to travel, which we will do in 2 minutes' time. So that means keep on playing, stop singing, and stop talking so quickly. That's what that means, okay? So I apologise in advance. Away you go, chaps.
Okay.
Gonna happen tomorrow. Can't remember much today. Hey, what I do know is these tears of sorrow will go when your sunshine burns on the way. Yeah, I fell down and I lost my crown, but I'll get it back someday. Hey, 'cause I know I got you and you always see me through. I'll be back on my feet again. I wrote the book of broken promises, baby. You sat and watched me write each word, but the truth is that the ink run dry just lately. I know been bad, but you are my world. blame you if you want me to leave you. Say the word, I'll leave you alone, alone. But the truth is that we're too entwined, believe me. Together is our only way we grow. Yeah, I fell down and yeah, I lost my crown, but
I feel so rude doing this because this is fantastic. We'll have a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get the travel news now. Here's Adam. Adam, over to you, sir.
Northbound lane closed on the exit slip at Luton because of an accident there. The A1 slow at the Black Cat roundabout. Delays in Stevenage on the A602 toward the A1M. Pretty busy on the A5 in Dunstable as you go from Regent Street toward the A505 at the West Street traffic lights. It's been slow all morning in Markgate, still is on the A5 southbound between Lynch Hill and Luton Road, down toward the M1 at Junction 9. St Albans looking a bit busy on the A414 with heavy traffic from Shenley Lane down to the London Colney roundabout at the A1081. Anti-clockwise M25 slow as it always is from Maple Cross to the M40 junction 17 to 16. And if you're making a journey by tube, the Piccadilly line runs with severe delays Acton Town to Uxbridge. That was a signal failure at Alperton early this morning. Good service on the rest of the line, no other tube problems, and the train departure boards are looking pretty good out there at the minute. Adam Glynn, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Adam, thank you very much. That's it, that's your lot. Thank you very much to Ryan and Quinny from the New Groove Formation. I appreciate you coming in, chaps. Have a nice weekend. Don't forget, download the podcast later on today if you want. I'll be back on Monday. JVS is up next. Until Monday, from me, ta-ta.
On FM, AM, online and digital radio.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. Friday, the sun is out. And on today's Big Phone-In, I'm asking, do you honestly think we need more police on our streets? The current